Yay! We got the intro. We got the muted intro. Let's go. No, it's going to be exciting today, Jackie. Hey, no one could listen, but I could tell you that was absolutely the hypest intro I've ever heard in my life. It was a banger. It was so good. Well done.
Yeah, what a nightmare. I don't know, but nothing had changed. But there you go. That's the power of the internet. I guess things just break. Whatever, then. We'll do a terrible intro now to make up for it. Max, talk to me about the games, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, also, wait, terrible intro. I have to talk. Okay, thank you, Jackie. Very nice of you. No. Yesterday was very exciting. There were some teams just popping off from the get-go. That Rondo in particular, right? Avalanche. Well, if you didn't check it out yesterday, definitely go back during the breaks. Maybe not during the games, but definitely want to go back and rewatch it because that was absolute peak PUBG Mobile Esports. But as we know today, the bottom four are going to be fully eliminated from this tournament. Their early run of spring 2026 will be reaching an early end. So it's time for comebacks here, Jackie, to see if they have what it takes to be in the grand finals.
Yeah, that's kind of the sentiment that we're working with today, right? Obviously a story of two sides, redemption for some teams and unfortunately finally defeat on the precipice for the others. It felt like for the majority of teams we expected to perform well yesterday, that was the consistent trend. Although there were a few outliers, Max, some of the names that we were ranting and raving about and wanted to pop off that never quite did.
You could just say Amix. Straight up.
I didn't want to do him that dirty immediately. Like, I felt like I was dogging on him a lot yesterday, but yeah, I kind of was talking about Amix.
Yeah, I was just talking about Kvik the entire time and his amazing grenades. But otherwise, yeah, we're hoping to see her come back. They're not on the first page here, but the teams at the top looking really good. GOAT team in particular able to be just so consistent throughout the entire day. 27 placement point. On top of that, of course, they got a chicken dinner, so they got a lot throughout the entirety of yesterday's 6 matches, though. Second page. A few names you do not want to see really around here. As we already said, Amix, not going to jump on it too much. But I even think SSE, you know what? That would be my biggest disappointment so far. Team that was just so adamant early on third-partying teams, able to create an advantage for themselves and just kind of leverage that to get really strong finishes. 0 placement points, Jackie. Nothing to be seen. Only 12 eliminations to their name. So SSE, I mean, it's not impossible for them to catch up, but there's already a little bit of a gap. There's 10-point difference between themselves and Motion. SSE, I think they could make it happen, but they might have a completely insanely low morale after what happened yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best run of form from them, considering what we had out of them back in Knockout, mate. It felt like they had a lot more room to breathe. Obviously, you had some ideas behind that there, where you were saying maybe the dynamic of the rotation of groups allowed them to play a bit more confidently, catch some teams off guard. Here, they looked relatively suffocated, Max, like they were a known quantity. But we'll discuss that a little bit later on. For now, in the pre-show, we want to set up some of our narratives. So let's move on to our team head-to-head here and break this one down, Max. Why have we selected GOAT team and Avalanche?
But because they're first and second, so they were the big numbers, right? Putting up the big numbers on day one. That's why I wanted to really highlight these teams in particular. But it's really when you're looking at the side of Avalanche, they're mainly focused around eliminations. Half of the eliminations came from match 1 on Rondo with that insane chicken dinner just outside of Stadium. But then you're looking on the other side, sure, GOAT team only have 31 eliminations, but keep in mind they are currently our first place team with a total of 58 points. Meaning, in general, outside of their chicken dinner compared to Avalanche, they've been just a lot more consistent. And that's also looking at the survival time, or an extra almost 2 minutes on top of Avalanche, which 2 minutes in a BR doesn't sound like a lot, but in PUBG Mobile, it can make the difference between getting 0 placement points and possibly up to 5 or even 6. So GOAT team, so consistent to make it to the late game so many times in day one compared to Avalanche. As we check out the replays here, Jackie, this was mainly off the back of one strong game that I would say, again, is their ticket to the grand finals they secured in match 1.
Man, if you missed it yesterday, Rob, obviously we were saying during the broadcast it was well worth a watch, but that Rondo game, realistically, for Avalanche was their kind of opening statement and closing statement, unfortunately, all in one foul swoop. Where towards the end, you know, Miramar, they had a little bit more luck back on their side, but it was a very quiet mid-portion. Quite the contrary, though, right, for GOAT team. That's kind of why we were excited more, because, again, they were very close to making it top 4. We were crazy blown away with the performance we had from them, where, again, this is a side that struggled a little bit coming into the opening days. then really had a big rise. Here, it feels like they're sending a message, as you say, that they are a consistent team. And especially now they've sort of sussed out the lobby a little bit, they're a bit more confident in where they are. They're playing some consistent PUBG Mobile, and that in itself is impressive, because obviously they are a bit more of a team in its infancy, Max, so it's nice to see. But we'll move on from the teams and instead focus up on the individuals. We've got our player head-to-head here, and we've gone for Warrior and Molodoy.
Our two top fraggers also, we got a bit of a trend, top two teams, top two best players of day one. That is what we're going to be really focusing on. But Warrior in particular, just so many times, even during knockout, able to keep the team alive. Well, not the team alive. He's only the only player alive at those moments. But he's able to keep the hopes of the team alive as a solo individual, getting 20 knocks and able to convert every single one of those into elimination. So Warrior, just gonna rename him Warrior to Survivor, because this guy is just unkillable at the end of these matches, it feels like. In particular, when it comes to Rondo, it's a similar sentiment, right, I would say, Jackie, to what we talked about Kino. Kino kind of doing all the numbers on his own for the likes of Champions. Warrior's in a very similar situation where I do want to see the team kind of build around him a bit more, because right now it feels like a very solo individual effort so far.
Mate, you could give him the nickname The Saw, because he stays alive Warrior.
I didn't get that one.
What do you reckon about that? I think that works. I think that's good. You know, it's like stay a warrior, but he's the Saw, but he stays alive. I don't know. We'll workshop it. I reckon that one could cook. On the other side of things, I mean, Molodoy, mate, he just looks like he's always up to fight the absolute universe at any given opportunity, right? The way he kind of bobs into fights, he's always moving. It's like he's out there playing basketball in a game of PUBG Mobile. It's very fun to watch.
Yeah. He's crazy good with every single aspect of the game. Just his aim is accurate. His utility is really good. I saw some people in chat saying yesterday that we were talking a lot about Windy and not about Molodoy. I think we highlighted Molodoy.
I thought we were talking about Molodoy a lot, yeah.
Yeah, especially yesterday. This guy was having a banging 6 matches. So we'll see, of course, if he can do it back to back. Though today is going to be back to back the same map rotation. 1 Rondo, triple Wrangle, ending with 2 Miramars. The favorite map, as Jackie would say, for Amix. Will they be able to make the comeback on that one? We'll have to see. But Rondo, in particular, with what Avalanche were able to achieve on that battleground, if any team can get even just remotely close, even if you're at the bottom of the rankings, Jackie, I think that this is their opportunity to make into the finals. Rondo is so important, and even more so when you only have 1 per day.
Yeah, just the 1 Rondo. So like you say, you absolutely have to make it count. Leave no holes barred, leave no stones unturned. Any other metaphors for, you know, dotting all your I's and teeing all your T's up like golf. But that's what you need to do, Max. You've got to come out swinging on that map. Obviously, we saw that be the boon for Avalanche, right? And that's the reason why they are still one of our very big contenders with the bloat of points they got off of that game. They didn't have that Rondo affair. Maybe we're not even talking about the team at all based on the rest of the day we saw from them. So it's a stark contrast. You'd hope that some of our sides that are towards the bottom end, Amix, cough, cough, can actually come out swinging here, Max.
Yeah, hopefully that's what we're going to be expecting from some of these teams. The thing is also, I think a lot of people think we're being quite critical on these teams, like, oh, they're making it to the finals. Why are you guys complaining? We're looking a bit of a step ahead right here, Jackie. We're looking at the finals. Do you have what it takes to be in the top 4 against TT Project, DG77, The Vicious, Aurora Gaming? Right now, if you're inconsistent, I think you are going to struggle heavily to bring any kind of consistency to that table. Though, match 1 is on board, and it is going to be a double plane path. Actually, very interesting kind of crossing here towards the end of the plane path, towards Stadium is where they're going to cross. Neox Factory really only in reach of teams on the northern plane, and Yulin only in reach of the teams on the western plane. So actually, this is going to be a very interesting early game hot drop situation you don't see happening too often here on good old Rondo.
Yeah, this could be very fun. I like the idea of this one, so we'll definitely dial in for a bit of double PP action, the old plane path on the move. Didn't get it, mate. It's been, I think, what, this is our first double plane path in the space of, how many? We had 6? Was it, did we have one earlier?
We had one.
We didn't get one this entire event.
This is our second. I'm pretty sure we had one eventually. But it was kind of it wasn't a great one. This is an interesting one in comparison.
Yeah. This at least makes it a bit more fun. This is nice. Hey, we might actually get to see a majority of the map. God, what a treat.
Whoa, no way. Teams all over the place. Let's go. Good old Rondo. Hopefully he's not going to be around the river. We've had way too many of those. There's going to be Atomic of Champions, can see on the elimination feed. Already picking up 1 early point and flushing that one out onto TGM, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be happening in Yulin itself. Though you can see also on the map, Demo is going to be over to the eastern edge. So he's going to be trying to camp a recall tower in case Champions do go down. But so far, they're having a decent start against the likes of TGM, especially for Atomic. No, they are surrounded. They got SSC that we said also is a team that we need to see make it to the late game, finally get some placement points. They only have elimination points, no placement points whatsoever. So SSC, I'm going to say it here, Jackie, they cannot afford to take the L.
No, it's too big of an L to hold, so definitely try and get your hands off it and show us instead that you're able to muster up a big old W. Do some indifferent spelling on a game like this. Already you can see D2R taking shots heavy as well, and it doesn't bode well. Valicio at the side of SSE being dropped down to his knees from a side shot there. So quite a few fights breaking out across Rondo to kick things off. Leon 44, the representative of the Ozorox Nation, that's our Serbian side, looking good already as well, up against Arc Red. Now ECO's hard flushed out. Squad still alive though, they can peace out on this one. Feelings on his last legs, but they should be able to recover this situation, but it's not good for early points. Yeah,
not going to be looking too good, unfortunately, here in good old Yulin. Though I'd love to see what's happening in Neox. I think we also do have maybe a smaller, but a hot drop, and nonetheless, happening on that side of the battlegrounds. Yeah, everyone's just going to be in a bit of a standoff here, as actually one of the best ways to initiate your hot drop in really any kind of city. Neox is a bit different because, again, it's got a lot of elevation with the warehouse, so that one you want to try and control the center. Usually on these kind of hot drops, you want to drop on the outskirts and kind of just have this sweeping motion in the inside portion of the city, which is exactly what 777 and SSE at the start were doing too. But I feel like now 777 are the one that have really built up that momentum. They're looking to encroach on the terrain of SSE. Bit of util here. Smoke in hand, actually. Not going to go for the nade, apparently. Just trying to block out maybe some vision of Mano with the S12K. Ooh, not quite able to punish it. Will take some damage, but he will chase down 6 and instantly confirm that flush. Though forced into another 1v1 scenario. The altercation is not looking too good, but Mano will come out once again on top. And we'll get 2 easy early eliminations. Really good use of the building to create that 1v1 scenario back-to-back.
Yeah, well played. Create a little bit of space, and you know what, that conversation about SSC not being able to really convert too many points early, at least that's looking a little bit better now. You've actually got yourself the free opening Elim points to build off of into this game. We see the KZ have had similar starts as well here, Max.
Yeah, we're still only eliminations, I was going to say. I'm like, okay, that's cool, you know, that's nice. Star Soldier's Epic, I'm happy for you, you win that. Can you make it to top 5? That's really going to be my... If they don't make it to top 5, for me, this team just has no hope whatsoever of reaching... I mean, finals maybe, like if they go really high elimination game, but top 4 is just out of the question unless I see placement points on board. So I'm still critical despite that win.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough, mate. It's fair enough. That's obviously the context behind a lot of sort of what we were bringing to the table yesterday, right? Because, I mean, top 12, mate, you expect the majority of these teams to be able to pretty comfortably get there as long as you really don't have a complete hit of the unlucky stick time and time again. Similar to what we've seen there from Metacore, right? Obviously, this has been really brutal for them. 3 points over the entirety of the 6 games yesterday. Not even winning out on those targeted fights where previously, at least, they were able to kind of have a good sort of test of themselves and say it with their chest when they were hot dropped on. It's been really damp throughout this. So, yeah, we're thinking more in terms of what, like you said earlier, right? When they get into finals, what's their form looking like? Yeah, it's why we're analysing it a bit deeper there. But you got to give them something to start with, mate. Let them warm up, all right? Max 3 Elim points, that's not that bad. They can build on that. You know, they've just got out of bed. Give them a second.
Yeah, they got some loot in Yulin now. Not too bad. Not too bad. We'll be able to maybe build a bit more upon that strong base. Looking at motion, though, already 2 players down. I'm looking at the map. Ked is just going to be, yeah, fully stranded in test track. Their other player is going to be in Chadina City, by the way. So even if Ked does go down, yeah, they got access to a recall tower over to the eastern edge of the map. Southern eastern edge, actually. And Ked, quite long ammo. Yeah, might want to try and swap weapons. If he's jumping it, even though he's got low ammo in the UMP, he's still got a secondary weapon with the AUG. Ked is feeling confident. He wants a piece of the pie. He's going to be committing to it. SSC also Soul Survivor here, trying to make it out of the area to the west. We'll be able to go for a quick rotate. But yeah, 27 plus, also a team that we need to see get some stronger results overall if you want to be a contender for the PMGO main event slots. Right now in the middle of the rankings, taking 2 big L's early on. So yeah, a lot of teams here that really can't afford to take casualties early match here are going to be taking them. As Ked, once more, forced low clip with the UMP jack. He's going to have a bad time.
Willie, though, Ked's been pretty good in these kind of rough situations. Make 17 bullets on a UMP. That's at least 1 Elim for a fella like this. Let's see if he can show it. Ooh, tight corner. Fires out a few. 10 rounds remaining with a pre-fire. Going to switch to the AUG, expecting the encounter from Betts. It's close, it's uncomfortable, but it's just mid-ship damage. And now it really is dire straits. He's going to try and engage off the back of it. Does force him off the pickup at least. They kind of see each other, just third person peek round the corner. Not going to overcommit. He'll take his leave.
It's going to come down to just the final bullet to maybe eliminate the opposition. Could be it. No nades. If you had one nade, that could be a really good one. Even a Molotov would be amazing on these staircases. But no. Looking for the reload. He gets some ammo for the UMP. Now he means business. Goes for the prey around the corner. And that's motion to get himself 2 extra limbs. Ked got himself the 4-piece on that early fight here, Jackie. Dominating the entirety of Test Track.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You can rep him in these kind of situations. It was nicely played. You could see how uncomfortable it was there as well, with the constant on-off plays with the pickup being baited out by a few shots. Like, it could have been an opportunity to have a 2v1 in the close encounters fight, but was so suspicious that Ked was just going to come running around the corner. Obviously, wasn't privy to all the information we had in regards to the ammunition. But Ked picks it up. Well played. Nice position to start things off. This is our 2 top teams as well, scrapping against each other to start off the day here, with Goat and Avalanche running each other down. Focus eats that one.
That was a crazy accurate nade for a player that was on the rooftops. A really good reaction from Avalanche. Grozer up to 1 elimination, up to his name. Though, yeah, easy bit of smokes chugged away of Molodoi for the reset. Ozrok's in the distance here. Hopefully will not be looking to push it, but they are actually closing the gap very, very slightly. So they might want to get involved in this conversation early game. By the way, just go back to the fight of Ked. There's 3 things he did in that fight that I'm not sure if everyone spotted out. One was try and reposition on the high ground, which gives him a high ground advantage. Also gives him a right peak angle, which is way better with your third-person perspective character, which is just gives you a significant kind of leniency where you don't have your character model too in view for the enemy. And also, he had got himself in another room that was yet unlooted. Get some extra ammo. So he did 3 things with 1 single movement. So that's just something that Ked, I wanted to highlight, was very impressive. Was it all planned to go exactly like that? Maybe not, but I think that the value he got from that single movement of going upstairs was really strong and really high for Ked as a solo individual. So yeah, Ked, again, one of the top players, if not the best player in Poland, stepping up massively at the start of this fight.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was saying. You can kind of rep him in those spots. Like, you guys actually looked really good mechanically. So, nice to see him being able to follow through on that one and delivering on the play. Ozarok's now completely collapsing on top of Butcher, but is that going to be the right move to make? Butcher pretty good in these scenarios. Unfortunately for him here, he will buckle under the full force of the Bulls as they rock on up and close him down. Grozer's around the corner, though, with an AUG in the back pocket. He's got nades as well.
He's going to send it. I would say, yeah. He just didn't care. You could tell. He's like, I'm going to get reset. If I get squad wipe, hell yeah. I got an Instagram clip. Otherwise, well, I'll just get instantly recalled by my teammate. It's going to be Tommy pulling the trigger. Got to be a little bit careful there in the open. This recall tower is in a really bad spot, but he's not going to be seen by anyone around him. Back to good old Test Track. Is going to be Ked finally going out. It took 5 players to make it happen here, but he does fall eventually, and his teammates actually next to a recall tower to the east of the map in the blue zone, so that should be a Beezer to pull the trigger. Motion will be just fine at the start of this fight, and also get 4 early eliminations at the start of this match, so this is definitely a really good start, one of the best starts, even I would go to say, for Motion the entirety of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong, honestly. It's felt, you know, really damp again throughout the flow of things here, especially in the LCQ. And even back in Knockout, it wasn't the best run of affairs for Motion. They had a couple of plays that got us excited as a team. The individuals had good form. Definitely a lot more highlights there. But this is nice to see. Way better. Maybe a breath of fresh air coming into today, realizing that point gap isn't that hard to break out of this sort of danger zone just beneath the top 12, especially when you look at some of the teams above them in terms of the point distribution. Them and KZ tied up right now, 26 points each with the 4 elims on the game. Afterlife being the gatekeepers of the entryway into the top 12. Currently sat on 30. This is 27 Plus's POV, rocking up towards the GOAT hub with Force relatively isolated here.
I gotta say, outside of Ruzen just being a top tier player, we have seen a slight improvement from every member, I feel like, especially Aslam. He was one of the members that would go out very early, pretty much every game for 27 plus, especially when they would just have a bad team-wide result. Aslam, I gotta say, respect. He's been doing way better on the long run of this event for PMG EECA. You know what? Maybe able to bloom even more just as they might reach the finals, which 41 points, I'm going to say it, is looking very likely. They will be one of our finals 16 teams. But the circle shifted away. Test Track and Neox not going to be in play. Actually, you just still have the Western Road, which is elevated ground in play for the likes of Arcred and Afterlife. Maybe even Motion if they go for a quick sweeping motion to the east. Outside of that is going to be down to the west, and he's got this mountain, which is good. And actually, if we remember here, just a few days ago, Jackie, we had a win from Vicious in this circle. TT Project was set up where Amix currently stand. This is an amazing gas station because it's so open all around it, except for the east, where you do have that stone pillar. Amix, we wanted a big comeback. It's Rondo. They got a previously proven strong position on this map. Maybe this is the time that they're going to start to ascend in these rankings.
Very possibly. Although we have said this an awful lot, that maybe this is the time.
Yeah,
for
the copium.
Amix. I know. I feel like we should suspend disbelief until it happens. Maybe we're the reason it's not been working. But hey, you know what? I'd be living for it, mate. It'd be great to see them actually fighting as well, Max. That's kind of the key sort of underline for me, is I just want to see more of that confidence back in terms of actually going in and trying to wipe out some of these squads. Because usually they feel like they're a bit of a bully, right? They're willingly taking counters and kind of back it up off of how good they are mechanically. It's felt like it's been a little bit quieter, and even then, when they have gone for those plays, we saw some communication breakdowns yesterday on Miramar. It was like the one push from Havlik where he kind of split off from the squad that had us scratching our heads a bit. So, hey, maybe today you've woken up on the right side of the bed. It would be awesome to see.
I'm happy you brought that up. I didn't want to bring it up myself. I feel like a villain today. I'm just being so critical. Like, this is bad. This is bad. I'm like, okay, mate, thank you for bringing that up. I'm not alone in being critical today. Because we want to see these teams succeed, especially a roster as knowledgeable and as experienced as Amix. And actually, talking about Amix, they sent Kvik over to Yulin. He went deep out in the blue to get the recall on one of their teammates. So it's a bit of a risky rotate, especially because I look on the minimap here. They do have the entirety of Champions pushing up into Yulin, very close to Amix, so you've got to be careful to not lose that duo. That will make that hold on the gas station I mentioned earlier way tougher to really execute. As Metacore over to them again, they only have 3 points throughout the entirety of LCQ. Can they get a few more on board here? They clash fully with TGM. They had a decent start of this game, but things are not looking too good. TGM able to get himself some nice damage, but he's going to be traded back and forth with Cyrix. But he's going to be a solo now. Only 1 point to his name. No, actually does have a JS9. Maybe a better weapon to swap over to, but it's just not going to be happening whatsoever. TGM take the win. And Metacore now down to just actually no one. There's not even a single player here. No recall available. That is Metacore out first in this game.
Yeah, peace out. See you later, Metacore. They wanted to clash, but they get left looking like mash off the back of that one. Shout out TGM. Good to see them instantly again winning out on these close engagements and keeping Sanic alive as well, which could be a bit of a boon for them the longer this one goes on. He's had some great moves. So glad to see he's still breathing. Reposition here from Default on screens. We get the POV of the Amix crew we've been touching on today. They're getting lit up from quite far away by 777 getting LOS towards them. So Default relatively low. Meanwhile, Avalanche have been thrown into the blender here, and they've just lost another player. That's only a solo left for Avalanche now.
Yep, that's not good. And also you can see on the leaderboards on the right, they've got no more recalls available. So that is going to be looking really bad for them. Losing a member at this stage when you are going to have to commit to breaches to get access to strong positions. Not the best time to be down a member. Actually, looking back at it, it was really lucky we didn't lose Default because Kvik went on an absolute odyssey here, Jackie, just to get Default back into the game. Imagine he just gets back to the gas station just to get flushed. It's like, bro, come on, what are you doing? But no, he will be able to heal up from his wounds. We'll be good to go. Though actually, I do wonder, are we going to see anyone transcend the buggy up the mountain? That could be a really good spot. We'll get a lot of elevation. Good information also coming up. As Molodoy. Yeah, just waiting in the distance. Maybe looking to get for a cheeky spray and convert it into multiple eliminations. But so far, the elimination feeds lighting up massively. SSE clashing with Ozrox. SSE saying, again, we want to see some placement points. They're still not even close to getting a single one this game.
Bad boy as well. Remember rightly, mate, this guy for Ozorox has been fairly consistently being a bit of a force He has been shutting down some big teams, and again here dumps a load of damage on the roadside. The rest of the Bulls from Ozarok stampede over the top of SSE. Good night, goodbye, see ya. They're out of the competition, so 3 teams down 16 minutes into the run here on Rondo. Destined to rise SSE and Meta, and possibly Afterlife joining them with how their encounter's going. Meanwhile, this is looking better and better for Motion, mate. The Polish team waking up on the right side of the bed and absolutely living today. They're cleaning up.
They've got 9 eliminations, 7 of those only for Ked, by the way. So, oh my goodness, what's happened to them? As you said, they got a good breakfast here, working on the right side of the bed, it seems. Hopefully, they can convert it into now a few more placement points. We're not getting close to that right now. But then 12th position, meaning these 9 eliminations, literally, if we stopped right now, would qualify them to the grand finals. But it's still not going to be enough. We need to see that continue. Not throughout only one game, but hopefully the entirety of these 6 matches. As Matek looking to reposition, as we say that Vocher is going to get flushed out, Head knocked on through. Molodoi going to be out in the open. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough for him. That's the end of the line for Avalanche. No back-to-back dominating chicken dinner here on Rondo, as Motion should be able to get Ked back up on his 2 feet. As Abisa will be close to Motion, still have a chance to put up big, well, they already put big numbers, even bigger numbers here on this map.
Capital numbers, I believe they're called, Max. It was nice though. I mean, a good response mission as well to try and grab Duchu. He's kind of been the second in command for this team in terms of some of the impact as well. So it was unfortunate he expired just before they could close the gap there to try grab him back up. But hey, it's still a very powerful trio that remains alive. Although that's if they can keep this trio breathing. Champions seem to have honed in to want to flush out onto this one. Ked's been knocked once again, so now it comes down to effectively just Ibiza to try and survive through. Known for his partying, let's see if he can boogie on this one.
I mean, there's a chance from that entry point. Could be working out for themselves. I do like how Goat Team and 27 Plus are playing this compound, by the way. You want to share it. Usually, as a full team, it's really hard to defend. You need to have more than just one squad to do it. So they just had that gentleman's agreement that, yes, we will work together, hold it off, and when we do have to exit from the compound, that's when we're going to decide to clash and take the 4v4. So I'm loving the approach so far. Good start. And again, Goat Team, we're #1 team in the overall rankings of LCQ. As that's good. Oh, my goodness. Some amazing utility from Atomic. And that's going to be then put down 6 feet under. Goodbye to the entirety of Motion. Still a good game. I'm not going to be critical on that one. It's still a really good achievement elimination-wise. But they're just on top 12, right? So we do need to see a follow-up in the next games. Otherwise, teams below them, like Afterlife in particular, KZ, SSE, could be looking to strike and take you down.
Yeah, it's a good upwards draft, right, to start off the day. You're going to be happy with that, but like you say, then it's about consistently trying to keep yourself above the rest of those teams. It's not enough, but it's a brilliant start. Arc Red battering bullets down range onto Mad, seeing if they can flip their name round to Damn, finish them off, flood them out of the server. Star and Co going to crash in on that, sniffing out the potential points from the down players and make sure that they do convert those fully. Talking of conversions, by the way, Max, look where they've put themselves now. 16 Elim points into this game. Arc Red going absolutely nuclear.
A team that also was very close, right, to making it in top 4 during knockout. So they have a lot to work with in this game. Hopefully you want to join the likes of our top 4 from the previous stage of PMGO EECA. So yeah, really, I mean, especially now 17 eliminations. And keep in mind, they still have 3 recalls. They're not going to use it, but that just means that they have not lost a single player during those early altercations. So really, really dominant gameplay from Arcred. Uzbekistan, of course, looking like a very strong region now during the past year and even at the start of 2026. Looking at their position, they're up north. They don't have a lot of strong cover. They have to create it, which you are seeing happening on screen here with those cover players and those smokes. He spots Demo. The spray does a little bit of damage, forces Demo back into hiding. But still, look at the amount of loot they have. 2 tier 3 vest, tier 2 helmet. He's got a ton of ammo, 6x scope on the AUG. Like, these guys are looking loaded on the loot and could be looking to take the final to champions, and that is looking good so far. As Hardboy puts down Demo, and that's a flush instantly converted into 1 elimination point. Wait. Did Ayata just get a double? What was that, triple nade? What? Look at the... I think he did it. I think he got a triple nade elimination with an S20. Did he get the 4-piece?
I think so. I'm pretty sure I've just seen Fearless wreck himself.
He did.
My brain was like split, mate. Yeah.
The PUBG Mobile Esports skill ceiling is a spectrum. You got the 1v4 nades coming out from Miyato, and then you have whatever Fearless just did.
That's what it was like. You know, like the lizard brain. It was like half of my brain was just pondering the nade, trying to recall. The other half was just like, he has just cover flared himself.
He did do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, swings and roundabouts, high highs, low lows. Unfortunately for Amix, getting some more placement points out of this one won't be a possibility. They are now down and out, so it's just the 2 Elim points there, and really the position they've got themselves in within the top 6 at the end of this one. So our top 5 teams still alive and kicking here, going into in reality, probably quite a good game for GOAT team if they can set themselves up from the position they're in, Max.
I mean, the fact they got rid of 27 plus as quickly as they did thanks to Yato's nades and usage of the S12K, they can actually play. This is actually a really interesting circle because the circle is kind of cutting right through the mountainside, meaning realistically, because of the terrain, 777 and GOAT are separated from each other. They've got this natural defense, so it's going to be forcing them to move both in the circle and fight each other. We'll have to see how this terrain works out, but yeah, good sprays from a range. And I think the GOAT team is looking like a true contender for this win, but so are ArcRed. 18 eliminations, of course, the record so far this tournament has been 22 eliminations on Rondo yesterday, secured with the chicken dinner by Avalanche. And I think that record could be taken down literally the following day here, Jackie. 18 elims, 4 more to go, and they would be possibly at least tying that record, maybe looking to even overtake it.
You know, for other teams, you want to deny that additional injection, right? Nearly 20 points of elims? That's enough. Don't let them blow off the back of also getting the 10 from the chicken dinner. Deny that from ArcRed if it's a possibility. But you're spot on, mate. If they can upset what was effectively one of the most explosive Rondo games we've seen in the competition from Avalanche yesterday, only 24 hours later, it would be a hell of a feat. GOAT team have been dialed in for this. The shots from Ayato have looked really crisp. It was the knock on the champions, but look who's in the back line, looking to steal away all the hard work of GOAT team and take themselves up to those 20 points on elims. They only gone and done it as well. The follow-up from the nade there is on point. Oh, mate, 20 elims. They're getting close, Max.
Oh, they were not happy they didn't qualify straight through knockout. They are meaning business today. Looking to catch up. They got 20 eliminations. They're looking so crazy dominant. Hey, look at the sweeping motion there. Look at the mini-map. The 4-man spread. They have a defensive line. You know what? I'm going to take that back. It's not a defensive line. It's an offensive line. They're pushing inwards. They're trying to zone teams away, bully the likes of 777, GOAT team, and also TGM. TGM, they do have a decent hiding spot inside the compound, so they can maybe easily get a second or even third place, depending on how many teams they can outlive. But 777, talking about also their position, getting absolutely battered. They're just cornered. They just got such a small amount of terrain to really work with. One nade would result in a squad wipe. But he is crawling his way into the smoke. He's got one more smoke to go, so that can be a quick utility reset. As Westron gets up in the smoke, going for the reset. Will be able to pull it off. He's 5 meters away from the zone, meaning they still have to go over the lip of that ridge, Jackie. I think the moment they go for that move, everyone is just going to start blasting in their direction.
Yeah. Unleash the hellfire towards them and see if you can rip your way through. Foot hovering over the pedal there for ArcRed as well. Fleek getting a bit of a read as he drives around, keeping a line of sight on the action ahead of them. The cover flares being called in to provide some space to play off as well, with how many open angles there are to contend with right now. This is going to be a hellish final fight between these teams.
Yeah, really good also from GOAT team to put multiple cover flares close to each other. The reason why it's good is it makes it really harder to hit nades. If you only have one wall of cover flares, one nade is like nading a tree or a rock. It's super easy, especially for the likes of GOAT team or even TGM. But no, you just put multiple in different areas. It makes it very hard to hit those pinpoint accurate grenades. And if you see a nade coming your way, you just hide behind another cover flare and you'll be good to go. And you won't have to show your back to any enemies to avoid that utility damage. So ArcRed, very experienced with these pieces of util. But they are not very comfortably in the zone. They are, if you look at the minimap, they are indeed in circle for Phase 7. Phase 8 is going to be a different story. So they might have used too many cover flares in this situation. You want to make sure you have at least a few, which they might still have in their backpacks. After 20 eliminations, Jackie, if they got all of those death crates, They might have like 10 more cover flares to work with. We could see some planted all over the place on this final circle. So Arcred still looking just like a dominant force, just building even more momentum. And they're looking to beat that record right here, right now.
I'd back them for it as well, man. I think it really just goes down to kind of mentally, if one of these other teams has enough oomph to stop them from getting those extra 10 points off a chicken dinner. But Arcred, with how they've been playing, they're looking absolutely devilish in the head-to-head fights. And they know how ridiculous this win would be. Bit of movement coming out from the GOAT crew. Nades in the back pocket there. We can see at least 4 or 5 in periphery just on this area. Said you've got about 6 nades between Hardboy and Fleek that are available. So there's a good distribution, like you said, of not only the cover flares, but the utility across the board that's viable for this team. So you get close to them, they can start blowing away your HP, making it very uncomfortable to try and fight them. But Force sticks to his guns more literally. Gets the flick shot up. That's the first knock on Arcred. They're going in off the back of it seems. They're just going to crash with this, Max. Take the confidence straight to them.
I mean, they saw the circle is headed north, is moving away from them. GOAT literally have no choice here. They have to commit to the fight. You can see here committing. Moxie, Wolf flushed. Fleeky, though, is going to be traded off, so that's going to be a knock that is going to be very hard to revive for Hardboy or the rest of this team. But look at also TGM, right? They see this golden opportunity. Like, wait, we can play the pincer maneuver onto Arcred, and they're going to start to send some players. It's going to be one player sending it up, put in. Trying to get some slight insight on where Arcred might be located, though Ayato is going to be in nade range without grenades, which is going to make it a little bit harder to hit that utility damage. The Hardboy, that's going to be the easiest nade ever. It's coming in, and the bounce is right there, perfectly thrown from Hardboy. He's having the game of his life, up to 7, could be looking to get the big old double digit as a solo. We'll see if he can go that far, as Ayato in a very hard position to also revive. Not worth it whatsoever, but look at Hardboy. He's just peeking. He's so involved. He's doing everything here. He's hard carrying Jackie at this finishing moment, making sure GOAT team cannot push and take away this high ground position.
Yeah, trying to put the team in the backpack and see if he can just crunch his way through this one. In the meantime, TGM took down what remained of 777, and now they're coming in from the side to put more pressure onto GOAT, the play zone as well, eating away onto the down man of Ayato. And Hardboy, you said it yourself, he's looking good for it. Unfortunately, gets overwhelmed by GOAT. His run finally comes to an end, and it all falls down to one man. Star. Backline there actually gets Glory back up. So they've still got a duo. Okay.
Ooh. Okay, Glory was Glory was AFK the entire fight, by the way. He was just knocked, trying to crawl his way back to Star. He did make it. The thing is, again, forced downhill. TGM looking away. Same for GOAT team. Can they dominate? Look at Glory. Oh my goodness. Doing so well from the get-go. Even able to find Force, and Star will get knocked eventually. So yet Glory left stranded as a solo. He's going to be in a 1v3 scenario here against the entirety of TGM while we still have focus. He really wants to get focus. If he gets focus, that's an extra elimination and placement point. But unfortunately, he's just not meant to be. Focus will get that elim for himself. Get the silver medal as Generation of Miracle. Indeed, miraculous run here as they're looking for one of their first chicken dinners possibly. And they will be doing it in style as they exit the city, eliminating everyone in view. And that will be TGM to finally get a win here on good old Rondo.
There you go, TGM, the unexpected quantity to, quick transition there, to walk away with that one, Max, as they do snatch it out of their hands. When you get so tunnel visioned into that fight, this, sort of 3 or 4 minute consistent back and forth between GOAT, it just, I think, gave them so much room to backline, right? They deal with 777, suddenly no one's really thinking about them. So everyone's invested so many resources they were low, they just start chopping them to bits. Come away with a big chicken dinner on that one. More importantly as well, denying that additional 10-point injection that could have gone the way of either GOAT team. If they took it, it would have been kind of disgusting. But the fact that they are able to deny Arcred getting that with how big of a game they had on elims, that's huge, dude.
Yeah, I mean, Generation of Miracle, the one strong play they did this game, which was waiting for GOAT team to engage upon Arcred, and when that happens, they actually use that as an opportunity to get closer into the play zone and get access to a very strong defensive position, which was the entirety of that ridge line. And I don't think we saw on the stream, but I'm pretty sure, Jackie, they chucked a few C4s and grenades just to create some dips to survive even longer in that match, and just wait for everyone to weaken each other. Then it was down to just 2 solos of 2 different teams, and guess what? That is just not going to be enough to get up against an entire squad of TGM. So, Hardboy, I gotta tip my hat to him. Those sprays, those grenades, every single aspect of the game was just so well executed by him that sure, he might have won this match, but he's won the game in my heart, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, even if they didn't win the war, they certainly won the battle, right? Like, they look damn good in terms of elims. Massively exciting game from them. And an unexpectedly quick rise as well, with how late into the game they started to balloon their elims. But hey, we'll give our winning team their flowers for now. Of course, Generation of Miracle there being the squad that comes out on top. A more reserved game, but playing their cards right when it matters most.
Yeah, no, definitely able to get himself some really good timing to try and exit that city. Also able to get rid of 777 for the most part, right? Making sure they couldn't go over the ridgeline. If they did, it was just going to be completely mayhem for that team. So everyone getting involved. Of course, you're looking mainly at Misa here with those 3 eliminations. But if you look at the elimination spread, Pudding also and Sanich were doing a lot of work. Sanich in particular, during previous games, has been a very impactful player. So good to see him kind of have a bit more support from the rest of his squad. As I always tend to say, right, hopefully this is the first good game of many to come, because to tackle the big top 4 that made it through the knockout, it's going to be tough, but they showed potential. If they can do it more often here, who knows, maybe this could be our true underdog team to rise to the top.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. It would be a very good sort of, you know, elevation of this team that has a ton of firepower. But if you want something that's less aggressive and more cuddly, why not get yourself this beautiful crocodile backpack, mate? I know Max has been trying to steal the code for this one. He loved the way it looked, so make sure you get your phones out, scan that QR code quick, Max, before you steal all 75 of them.
I feel like I could only steal one. I would have to create multiple accounts.
I know what you're like.
Yeah, you got no. I have. I am the Crocodile Mafia backpack group right now. That's what we're doing. But no, it's a really cool one. If you guys want to get it for yourself, it's a cool, different tiered backpack. So get it right now. And no, we almost got the 100 elims in the game. We got so close. One more elimination. No one willing to sacrifice themselves for science. So disappointing. Why?
I know. It would have been monumental. Really quite a somber moment there at the end of what was quite a hype game. R.I.P. the 100-point dream on that rondo, mate. It's unfortunate, but it was still a bloody good game, specifically for Arc Red as well, if you've just joined us. Again, both of the rondos we've had here in the LCQ, well worth a watch, Max.
Yeah, no, it was really entertaining game. Not stadium this time around. It was in the open, but I think a lot of teams are being very thoughtful of their approach. In particular, 27 Plus and Go Team, I think the way they tried to coexist in that compound was just really well executed. They knew that was going to be a weakness if they started to infight each other and open up gates for third parties. Talking about a team that was not a third party, though, it was the entirety of TGM, and Misa in particular, of course, being your game MVP, though I am pretty sure he's not going to be the true top fragger of the game. I feel like we had Ked, we had some players of Arc Red, we had also a Yato popping off earlier. But still good to see Misa take the match MVP. Though, who's going to be our top fragger here, Jackie? I'm not sure. You got too many players could be up there.
Yeah, what a hard call it'll be. Ooh, okay. Well, Flique on top, barely just beating out, of course, his teammate of Hardboy there. Both of them basically competing against each other within the same roster, Max. Quite a fun dynamic on that game.
They almost got 20 eliminations as a duo. You don't see that every day. That is very rare. But also Kede from Poland. Good to see him get the 7 eliminations here. Only in 18 minutes, by the way, which is really good conversion ratio when it comes to time converted into elims. So Kede has been on fire this game. Hopefully he can do so on the other battlegrounds, followed them by also a focus. But the match rankings are here. And sure, TGM might be your chicken dinner team here, but they only get the nuggets at the end of the day as Go Team overtake them with those 12 eliminations and 18 points total. And then Arc Red, oh my goodness, actually record elimination game, not with the chicken dinner, but without 23 elims for themselves. Arc Red, whoo, absolute banger coming their way.
It's crazy. One of the few times we've seen one team above the chicken dinner squad, not two teams that have been able to do it. So yeah, incredible result there. 28-point game for Arc Red, rocketing themselves into a firmly safe position in the standings where no one will even be close if they can keep this up going throughout the rest of the day. Team's been looking great there. Towards the bottom end, it was a very quiet run of things for some of our squads, surprisingly as well, one of them being Afterlife that failed to even get a single point on that game, Max. And now remember, I think they were the edge keepers in 12th going into that game, so this could be brutal for them.
Yeah, it was looking a little bit rough here as we look at the rankings, and gonna actually build a decent lead for themselves. But 777 for the first time able to jump into second place, and Arcred, thanks to that amazingly frag-oriented match, able to also jump an extra 5 ranks. So they're going to be looking good. I'm going to say everyone on the first half here, we're looking at the top 5, top 6, maybe even I'm going to say top 7 teams right now, Jackie, with 52 points, have basically secured their slot, making it into the grand finals. It would take an insane miracle for any of these to fall out of contention. As champions, though, that's a team that I was expecting to make it so easily, but they're just in 8th place here. What is going on with the Mongolian team?
It's odd. It is very odd indeed. They've had a lot of unlucky starts to games, I suppose we could put it, over the LCQ, right, where they're going down to like a duo, a trio, relatively consistently. But it's not been great from them. This is weird, because I think, you know, we both sort of agreed. We thought they'd be coming out absolutely swinging in the LCQ, but not here, not now. This is our second page as well. You can see how things have slipped, of course. Shout out to Motion off the back of the great game they just played. Because there was no points for Afterlife, they've been pushed out of the top 12 down to 13, with Motion beating them by 2 points now.
Very unfortunate. I would really like to see Afterlife make into the finals. I don't think they've showed their true potential just yet, but they're really encountering some really tough fights around the battlegrounds that's happened, especially on this game on Rondo. Erangel, I remember they didn't have also good matches yesterday, so Afterlife, I hope we are going to see something of value coming to the table for them today, Jackie, but so far they definitely didn't have the start they were hoping for. They're losing a lot of that steam, a lot of that momentum, so yeah, Afterlife, if they don't make it, it could happen with these kind of points they've got so far, but I am still expecting, crossing my fingers, that something will be happening very soon for the likes of Afterlife.
I mean, if they dig deep, right, it's very still within reach. You would just need kind of that mental reset to be able to come back out swinging and rack a few points. It's not that big of a lead ahead of you guys, so don't get your head in your hands. Keep those heads held high. This is the potential battlegrounds they'll have ahead of them to attempt that recovery mission, though. Of course, like Max said at the top of the show, same flow as yesterday, so we will have the back-to-back free Erangels and then our duo of Miramars to close the show later on today, Max.
It's going to be all about the loot trucks, right? Actually, now I'm meaning it, but not as a joke anymore, not because I just love loot trucks. It's actually becoming a really meta thing in the ECA. I actually need to watch other regions and see if other regions are catching up to that really strong early game feature of the games. But here we go, guys. It's going to be time for a wrangle back to see who's going to be taking home some of these chicken dinners, and of course some of the chicken nuggets are going to be very important. It might just be enough, actually, if you want to make a little bit of a push into the top 12. But the plane is here. It's going to be from Military Island all over to, I believe, Zaki/Georgepol. So not the best plane for some of these teams that like to go up northeast, especially towards the likes of Yasnaya Poliana, which usually has 2 teams over there in TGM and 27+. So they might have to go for a quick drop on the road, get a car, and get the right back on track into Yaz.
Yes. I don't know, it just reminds me of it every time you say it. It's the way you put a spin on it. It just reminds me. Sorry about that, Max. Intrusive thoughts. Intrusive.
I'll just say the full
to start
name
the day.
every time.
Yeah.
Just so you never do that again. By the
so
way,
we never
you know
yas on air.
Yeah, I had a question for you. So I didn't Google. I could have Googled this, but I wanted to make a fool out of myself on broadcast.
Okay.
Is your family name actually Powers?
Yeah. I am Jackie Powers.
That's
We're related
so cool.
to Austin.
That annoys me. That's so cool. That's well, but people can't even pronounce my family name in English is Barrow. Which is like, come on, it's just someone puking. So that's all my family name is.
But, you know, it's quite nice. You check into a hotel and they go, "Oh, Mr. Powers," and you're like, "Yeah, that's me."
That's so cool.
Yeah. I know. I feel like a James Bond. It's very fun. It is.
My name is
indeed
Powers.
A nice
Jackie
little treat.
Powers.
Yeah, exactly. I know, it does make me happy. Although I will say, for the most part, people can never spell Jackie. They always spell my name Jackie. And I'm like, how have you added extra letters? Like, where's that come from?
They might get it right in Starbucks. I don't know. You'll have to try your luck over there. Maybe they'll get it.
Normally, I just lie and give different names at Starbucks just to mess with the waiters. Yeah. I
Really?
walk in.
What's your
"Hiya,
go-to?"
Dave here. I've been Brian a few times and Dave. At one point, I was Jamiroquai, and they said, "How'd you spell that?" And I went, "Just do a J."
Jamiroquai.
Yeah, Jamiroquai. But yeah, I switch it up. Yeah,
Have you
most
been
recent
banned?
order, I was Jeremy.
Oh, okay. If they remember you, like, he keeps changing name every week.
Yeah. Now I've got a
Weird.
couple twins. You know, that's always the other argument. If you ever, if people start to recognise you, that's always the easy one. "Oh, I saw you yesterday." You just go, "No, it's my twin." "What do you mean?" "I was near." Just freak people out. I like a bit of social memery.
But you had 10 different names. It's like, yeah, 10 twins. Yeah. Big family. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But okay,
exactly.
but I am jealous of your family name then. That is okay. That's official now.
It is a good one. It is a good one.
It is a good
I won't
one.
lie. Yeah. Done well there. Done well there. The GOAT team of names, Max.
I mean, yeah, you know what? It would be number 1 on the leaderboards right now in this tournament. Powers Esport, number 1.
Hey, well, to be fair, shout out Power. Obviously, very different region, but a fun team to watch, buddy.
Yeah. We're doing the world tour right now. Yeah, that was a random topic. I just wanted to confirm my suspicions. I was like, is it? It must be. It must be real. As looking at the positions of some of these teams, actually no one is going to be north of the river except for Mad Esports, but they're going to be in northern Georgeport over to the west. Meaning there's going to be a loot truck running around over Severny unlooted for a decent amount of time. But no hot drops, which makes me hopeful. We're going to be looking good here. No early eliminations going into the final. So these teams have their drop location locked and loaded. End of sentence. Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if there was something else coming. I was like, it kind of sounded like there might be a follow-up, but...
Oh, no. Okay, well, now this is a bad follow-up, though. I'm like, there's no fights happening early. I was looking around the map. I was like, there's actually nothing. This is so cool for once. We are chilling earlier wrangle, but there's a bit of a chase towards Shelter. Going to be destined to rise, clashing with TGM. The thing is, this is not even a good position. I actually have no idea where TGM is going. They're leaving the circle entirely, trying to go for a wide eastern rotate. Uncertain what the call is behind that. There's no real good reason in my mind I can see from here at a glance as to why you would want to go that far. They're even chasing it. What? Okay, this is weird now. Okay, I don't like this anymore. Give it up.
Yeah, no need. Stay on the leash. Stay calm for now. I do wonder, mate, at what point in the next 3 minutes' time champions are going to just start windmilling on someone. Because it's kind of just been the consistent trend for them. Like they've been very aggro early game. That it's not been the greatest result for them in terms of their early game conversion. Weirdly in the LCQ, but they are still willing to do it. So maybe if Afterlife run towards them, we'll see a little bit of fight in there. But they've got their focus on a safer rotate up towards the zone for now.
They just can't fight Aurora anymore. That's the issue. They don't have their true Mongolian rivals to clash with at the start of every game on the bridge. It's very sad to see, actually. Yeah, you can see in their eyes, in the character model, they're just a little bit depressed. They're like, we missed them. So you just got to make sure you qualify, and then you can hot drop Aurora as much as you want, if you feel like it. Go Team got himself a hovercraft there. It's going to be Moxie in the driver's seat. Or I could just inverse it and say the pilot. I don't know. I get those all over the place. The plane driver.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that one, technically, there's semantics there. Because obviously you can drive a hovercraft on land, at which point would you be the driver? But it can also cross bodies of water. So at that point, would you be a pilot? Would you be a captain?
A captain.
You see?
Yeah.
There's issues. There's issues to this. Because it isn't necessarily a boat, nor is it a car. It's a hybrid aquatic vehicle. It's like a frog, but with not wheels.
It's just a Bowie, right? All around it. Oh, okay, there you go. There was a loot truck also looted up, but yeah. It's gonna. Oh, what did he get? What did he get? What are the goods? Tier 3 Hellman Vest, of course. You'll get that every single time in a loot truck. But I didn't see any airdrop weapons, which is unfortunate. No P90s, no MG3 unless some of his teammates got it. That's going to be a push of Mad Esports straight up northwest of the circle, and a bit of a surprise there, but still going to be flushed out by Takinov. Yeah, not sure why we just had one straggler there, just hiding, but it was not a good hiding spot. He lost that game.
Yeah. Which, normally that's not how it ends when you play hide and seek, just for anyone that's wondering.
It's a bit brutal,
but
Squid Game. Yeah.
It would be a very quick game. You'd never get to play again, Max, if that was the rules. Be a very cutthroat. I thought you would actually be able to potentially catch them off guard, but they clear it together and are able to deal with him very quickly. So yeah, Tiger down and out. Metacore's bad luck seems to be continuing. Have you ever been in a hovercraft, Max?
No, actually. Have you?
Yeah, I've been in a hovercraft. Twice.
Okay. Oh, my name's Powers. I've been in a hovercraft. Okay, we get it. Stop it. Okay, you're ruining my day right now.
Well, no. So, like, the thing is, like, growing up in England, right? So there's a small island like off of the English mainland.
It's called
the
Isle
of Wight, and you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, and you can get there on a hovercraft rather than like flying there or like So yeah, they'll just hovercraft you over. It takes like half an hour, but it's mad aggro. You're like bumping up and down, constant noise. It's like that.
That must be cool. I'd like to try that. Have you done have you went to do some parachute? No, have you done that before?
I've never parachuted. No, I've never parachute. Have you?
No, I have not. I was going to say if you've done that, you've done everything I wanted to do.
no parachute.
Cool. I still have that. I can do that before you. No, I could still win.
Yeah, we'd do that as a content piece, mate. We'd have you hot drop.
Yeah, in Pachinki. Let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
IRL Pachinki. Yeah. Which actually, yeah, technically you could do because
we didn't load the parachute. Yeah. Hold on.
But actually, these areas in Erangel are based off of IRL locations. So technically, we could drop in Pachinki for real. Zaki exists. George Pole exists. Yeah. They're real spots in the world.
We'll do a tour. At some point one day, we'll do a PUBG Map World Tour, Max, and we'll go visit some different locations together. It'll be a nice treat for one of your birthdays.
Just enter the house and there's just people living there. What are you doing? It's like, no, guys. Yeah. This is squad house.
Where's the loot?
Give me the weapons right now. Give me everything you have. As Ozarok's also going to be peeked around the corner here on the door. Lil Molotov, got to be careful. He's going to be spread on wooden floor. Mela's going to reposition a bit further to the west of Rozok. Decent molly, actually, from Blue. And actually, the off angle is going to be enough. Arcred, though. Again, this team is just looking insanely aggro today. They want to take every single fight. And because of that, actually, that extra elimination they just got allows them to overtake 777. Now are going to be your new current second-place team. But they did lose one player. One other one is knocked. Can they remain up there? Or will 777 or even the likes of Avalanche be able to take away the silver medal this time around?
Well, Fearless gets his eyes perfectly primed onto the Ozarok's crew. And he keeps on running as well. Gets into a better elevated angle there. Breaks the doors off the building, so he's got better lines of sight into the compound if they do try and peek towards him. It's Bad Boy down on his belly right now, close by. Let's see if he makes a bit of a play. Could catch him through one of the windows, potentially, if Fearless keeps on pushing up. Meanwhile, Butcher's been bonneted by Warrior. There he is. Hits him with a 4-litre and finishes him off. Groza responds back onto him, though, so Avalanche not happy that they've lost their teammate on that one. Oh, I was wondering when he was going to make a play on this. He must have been watching him jump peak for so long. But Fearless finally has his knees broken there by Bad Boy.
Yeah, so many trades back and forth. It's going to be champions. Again, we can't afford to lose them early game, or even just lose a few members. We want to see that survival time ticking higher and higher. Looking to go for Fearless. He's going to be bleeding so fast. Will they get there in time? It seems like. Yeah. Oh, no. Unfortunately, he's going to be lead out. That's going to be champions down to just a trio. As Milaz here also got one Molotov to his name. Going to be a bit hard with that single piece of util. I mean, he's surrounded. You look at the minimap. He's got a full team of champions to the west, full team of Arcred to the east in Garden of Rozok. He's got himself a buggy. So he's got also an escape route for Melaz over there in that building. Actually, next to his building, he's got a buggy to work with. As Fleek here will exit. So actually going to create a bit of an opening for Milaz if he wants to try and do a swift exit. Actually, everyone leaving. I think he was somewhat forgotten about entirely. And he is in the circle, by the way. So this could be a slight redemption coming out from one player. He's going for the survival mode. Maybe pulling a warrior with that increased survival time of 777 would be nice. Outside of this, up north, a few teams going for wide rotate, such as Afterlife, Mad Esports, Metacore, maybe even 27 Plus and TGM. So north is going to get real hectic in the very, very near future.
It is quite funny that, you know, so much infighting for so long there, and then they all just slowly part together. Yeah. Tip their hat, say goodbye, Malaz. We'll leave you to it. So, like you say, maybe if he can preserve himself long term, we'll come back and discuss just how far he can go in terms of survivability. For now, KZ, though, driving through the forest, and they see some goats with guns that want to engage. Iato closing the distance behind them relatively quickly to see if he can get an angle on this here. Moxie trying to scout for it as well, keep their vision open in case they need to defend themselves. So just playing off one another. You don't want to be the first domino to fall, but they need to show some presence.
This is a good position too on this circle, so I really hope KZ can hold it down. Goat normally should be willing to coexist. Goat could hold the southern hilltop. KZ can hold the northern one next to the compound. But they are going a bit too deep. I'm not sure why Jaikura is going to hit solo. Oh, you know there's going to be a team here. Even just looking at the circle is dead center. Garden is going to be occupied. So that is a very unnecessary loss that they just suffered. Not sure what the idea was. As 777 also going to be taking a few casualties to the hands of D2R. That's going to be far over to the southern side of the map. But 777 looking good as they will be able to make their way into apartments. By the way, apartments, so far no teams. It's only going to be 777. And in school, it's going to be SSC. So decent also positions down south have now been occupied. And a lot of teams are going to be in zone. I don't think we're going to lose any team very soon. But I think Circle 5 in particular... Circle 4 going to Circle 5 is when we're going to see a lot of these teams get involved in fights where they just can't get back up.
For Ked, does the impressive form from the first game continue here with a UMP? The SMG stunner dives over the corner. Good. Nicely handled in the back-to-back there. Bio and his mate in close proximity dealt with in seconds. Absolute pops up for a sliver of a face there. But before he can even get any damage off, he's eaten a bullet straight to the face. The rest of his teammates are down and out. Takhanov's now trapped and should be a free flush. And they're surviving the damage that's thrown towards them. Matic low, but still breathing. But Absolute knows that this is a very horrific position to be in.
And it is because TGM, look at the distance there. They're going to be looking to push over the ridge, getting involved. I mean, everyone is wounded here on the two sides. Dusha was flushed on out. Mad is having a bad time. So you know what? Motion, just like, okay, we see TGM. This is not worth it. Sorry for disrespecting you. We'll get the hell out of Dodge. Not worth it. And also because the circle shifting away. So this is a good reaction. Again, the IGLing is on point from Motion since last game. Good rondo, good follow-up game here so far on Orangle. Still not a ton of points, but I got to say the macro aspect is looking pinpoint perfect. Just respecting the competition. They've got to be careful. Champions did send a demo over the road, so that could be a bit of an issue for Beast. And as I say, that demo does get the knock and the flush with the AUG. As a casualty really couldn't take it. They were looking so good, but they just decided to split Jackie for no real good reason. Maybe the wheel got popped on the buggy and they just couldn't regroup. So Motion are going to struggle now moving forward as TGM also cleaning up shop over to the west. And that is going to be the end of the line for Mad Esports.
Unfortunate for Mad once again then. Going down a little bit early where they can't get themselves a few more points to climb up. The team's head and shoulders above them, still in a position to potentially lap with how tight that grouping is, effectively from 4th downwards to about 8th position at this point. We do say goodbye to Motion, though, so they came out swinging, but the candle that burns twice as bright only burns for half as long for that team today, it seems. Similar things could be said about Champions with how willing they've been to fight early. You've got Demo away from the rest of the crew here, spotting the move round from TGM, but thankfully he still has his buggy within arm's reach, so he can get back in that and close some distance to get down towards the rest of the Champion squad.
They're going to make sure to regroup to clash with the likes of TGM, which they are actually going to be getting really close to actually in CQC, and that's going to be resulting in Demo going down. Retro's been having some good stats as of recently during LCQ. We'll see if they can go the entire way up against one of our top teams in this lobby. It's going to be there. Oh, actually sending the buggy right over the ridge. It's a bit of a risky play, but you know what? So far it's working out. They overwhelm and they dominate, expanding their empire. It's going to be TGM for the win. 6 points still good in the way of champions, so not a terrible game. Still able to get a few more on board, but Generational Miracle, who also got 6 eliminations, do get their teammate, I think, back up in the car, so they're going to be driving themselves over to safety. TGM, I don't know what's been happening today, Jack, in particular, but they've been having some really good changes when it comes to the macro. They are a lot more aware of teams around them and taking fights that look just so much better every single time, so big up to this team.
No, absolutely, mate. They've been looking way, way better today. It's been awesome to see with how they're playing. Again, you know, it felt like it was very limited opportunities. We had to sort of big up their name and get excited about them initially in Knockout, but especially in this lobby, they've had way more room to show us that there is stature, there is good late-game presence. That's been fun to watch. 6 elims would do wonders for them as well, especially if some of the other teams higher above them start to sputter and falter towards the tail end of this game. 777's always going to be a big threat, though, right now in the lobby, as they're farming up the elims. 8 to their name, currently on equal stature with TGM.
Not too bad. The bridge, though, yeah, this is going to be a really bad one for Afterlife. They're on the bridge, north of Garden of Arcred. SSC also trying to make an exit, but keep in mind, Melaz is still there. He's still waiting. He has not moved an inch. He might even be AFK. You wouldn't know. He's just no, he's definitely not AFK. Okay, he sees the back of SSC. You don't want to take that fight. You wouldn't even have time to get a knock and convert into a flush. So just use all the meds. There were a few death crates. Yeah, there's actually a lot of death crates here from Melaz. He might have brought them inside. He's got, yeah, was that 2 first aids, 5, yeah, 1 med kit, 5 bandages, so he's looking okay. Gonna have to make a push, though, and he's able to actually catch them slightly off guard, because the blue zone damage is going to be way too much, apparently, and that is going to be Ozorox eliminated fully of this game with Melaz biting the dust. Arcred, though, defending their position in guard, and SSC trying to make a quick dash over, but we saw what happened earlier to one of the members of KZ. It was not too easy, but as I say that, actually, it works out so far as they do make it to the mountaintop, and boom goes the Dynamite. SSC again on a very unprepared push, just getting fully overwhelmed with the firepower of the competition. Is KZ so far for the win, though. Moxie still there, and Goat Team, you can see their position. They're looking to encroach on the high ground, looking to claim it for themselves. It's looking dicey, but they're still very split, so Yato needs to respect the competition, or he might get knocked and flushed himself.
Yeah, it could still go south very quickly here, so you've got to make important decisions. TGM, as they made their quick move around over the bridge side, they suffered a lot of damage, and this has made them very easy to convert, with Goat taking them from the front side, and of course the back damage that was coming in from Afterlife. So you're losing everything you had. All those boons quickly falling away from you. Windy gets an opportunity to pop back up into the elim feed there, as TGM do finally completely fall. So they're out of the runnings here, and we whittle down our squads more and more. 5 of them remaining at this point. Goat 777, Arc 27+, and Afterlife for one of the first few times in a while, Max, surviving later into a game.
Really good on Arcred, by the way. Really showing and highlighting they have insanely good map knowledge, terrain knowledge in particular. Here, that dip that they are playing on near the airdrop, right in the center of the circle, is really good, because you don't have good lines of sight from there on the likes of 777 or even Goat Team, so they can stay there for a very long portion of time. So Arcred could be looking for a solid finish once again after an amazing start on Rondo. Who knows, the back-to-back podium could be happening very soon. Though I'm surprised. You know what, Jackie? I'm genuinely surprised. Goat Team had the widest split. A 4-man split. Still, we had a Yato actively fighting teams on Mountaintop, and they didn't get punished for that. I think this is a game where the stars aligned perfectly. They got a little bit lucky, and the amount of pressure they have now is looking mad. But they still only have 2 eliminations. But, yeah, Goat Team looking to control the entirety of the circle.
Oh, massively so. They're doing good damage as well to make it very oppressive for a squad like Afterlife to actually sort of third party into the backline up towards 27 plus, denying opportunities for them to get additional points on this one as well. Misha was just knocked there with a quick reaction we saw, I believe, from Force. So this is looking good. Focus spams into the back, 27 plus off of that opening. Do capitalize and start to close down into Afterlife once again. So a ton of their utility and medics being invested to try and keep themselves alive. Focus looking for the off angle, peek back through the window as well. Another follow-up coming through, 27 plus, looking like a punching bag right now. Everyone's just got their eyes honed onto them, and Moxie's making a move further down with that heavy armor of the hovercraft as well.
Typical GOAT team behavior. They just love sending it on these wide off angles. Moxie, got to be a little bit careful, but they're also kind of far away. They're about, where's that, 75 meters away from 27 plus, so that is outside of nade range. So I think they're very aware of what 27 plus could do in this situation, as Arcred successfully defend their dip. 777 still again another decent finish here. 777 able to get so many eliminations on Rondo. They made it to top 5 here. They do make it on the elimination front very highly in the rankings. It's 4 teams now remaining. This is where you can really get a ton of placement points. It's the side of Afterlife, 27 plus, GOAT team and Arcred, but GOAT team still committing to their good old 2-2 split. It's been tested the entirety of this game, and it's been very, very successful. Although any kind of elevation would really just ruin this dip, so Arcred know they have to get the hell out of here. It's just not worth sticking around, especially when Force is in nade range. But I do say that he's got no grenade, so actually Arcred kind of lucky he is out of util. Everyone looking to reposition, use their cars as cover. And that hovercraft we saw from Moxie earlier could actually be super strong in a finish like this if it does go on the western low ground.
It's a nice added element that could be very useful for them. See, Moxie's still just cruising around in it right now. He's always very willing to split off as well and kind of set himself up as a more forward scout, especially with that extra armor to play off of. So no surprises there with how he's approaching things. Nades back down towards Star. Body down on the ground right now. Smoke wall up in front of him to provide some semblance of protection at least, but they're looking for an angle towards him. Force has been very crisp. Up with it 4 times. Let's see if he can get an angle. Meanwhile, Tapok spams back. Afterlife have had no room to push up for what feels like an eternity at this point. Anytime they peak, they're just litten up. And you're just down to only Windy. So yes, a man we know that can perform. But in a position like this, he's basically just cannon fodder.
I'm going to still say this is somewhat of a win for Afterlife. They were under the bridge for so long this game. So anything more than making it to top 5 is definitely a big achievement for a terrible spot early on this game. So, but yeah, as you said, in that position, can Windy really achieve greatness? Oh, I'm not feeling too confident, and especially the Circle is going to have different plans in mind as it is going to be shifting away from them and also from 27 plus. So, GOAT team should now be taking up the role of gatekeepers as they do clash. Tapok first to fall. The Orc doing some work, but Windy able to actually get the angle onto Ruzen, it seems, but what just happened there? Aslan just great timing, able to jump into the car, avoiding getting squashed by the by the hovercraft, but it's just still not going to be enough. GOAT team overwhelm and dominate once more. But hey, good trick there, able to try and keep yourself alive a little bit longer, but it will not be enough to make it on the podium.
Nearly though. Like you say, brilliant reflexes to jump in the driving seat and stop himself from just being squished by the rundown from the hovercraft. Almost got the follow-up frag as he bailed back out as well, but wasn't quite quick enough. Oh, Focus. He's been so willing to take these fights. This time comes unstuck on the peak as Arcred will upset him in that engagement. Star knows they're coming, but all he can do is lie in wait. You force him out with the hover truck, and it will allow the damage down. Actually bails out. That's good play from Moxie. Catches him when his attention is between 2 separate players and will convert onto him. Hardboy makes sure to flush onto the downed Focus, though, and we are still left with our 3 squads. Windy the solo for Afterlife, still just staying out of trouble. The 3 players from GOAT up against this duo of Hardboy and Fleek from Arcred.
I don't like it. Windy's still there. Force is in a 1v1 scenario over there. I do feel like this is a true example of GOAT remaining split for way too long. They lose the off angle. It was just not working out. And now Windy going to be looking to get himself a 1v2 possibly. But no, that's going to be a really good shutdown from Ayato again with his trusty S12K. But after that, it's down to the last two teams. A trio, Moxie, Force, Ayato up against a duo of Hardboy and Fleek from Arcred. Can they get a back-to-back banger here to kick off day 2 of last chance qualifiers? Could be the case, as the MC9 is in the M79 is going to be in the hands of Hardboy. He's able to really get some good refreshes on these smokes, create just more cover on this rooftop. But how aware are GOAT of Fleek's angle in particular? They know this roof is occupied. But Fleek, no one's really looking his direction. He might be the one straggler that could easily ruin everything for the likes of GOAT team.
I wouldn't put it past this duo to still have a very high chance, even with the disadvantage in terms of how many players are alive. Battle of attrition means nothing to this team. They'll just get it done single-handedly. And Fleek, with that AUG, if there's even a moment where you're not ready to quickly unleash fire towards him, he's going to grab that. He's waiting for the run up here, was priming on the nade as well, just in case he spots someone to engage off the back of it. 2 of them in the backpack. 1 smoke as well if he needs it for a later setup. Hardboy fires out warning shots, but they're not warnings. That's direct hit. Force goes down. This is even better for them now. They could try and flush onto this with a nade from Fleek. And Moxie's looking to close the gap. The hover truck making a difference. Timing on it could have been brutal as well, Max. Just as he got out of the driving seat, the nade detonates. He dodges the vehicle, turns with the shotty, looks to try and create chaos, but it's not enough. Hardboy closes the gap. Nade thrown up towards them. Ayato with similar moves cooks one of his own. They exchange the nades. They both miss other than the slight chipper damage.
Ooh.
The tree won't be enough to block it, though, as the hovercraft flattens him. And GOAT team get it done.
We have a hovercraft finish here coming out. What a game indeed from both GOAT team and Arcred. But the hovercraft will prevail and will be the strongest entity in that circle finish. What a game indeed. And looking at the chicken dinner, of course, GOAT team taking it home, but also with the 9 eliminations. Just incredible consistency from this team, making it to the podium last game on Rondo and doing it here this time even more in style, right? Securing the chicken dinner itself, taking it home with a 10 placement points. But one cool thing, by the way, that I don't know if we spotted here fully earlier on this game, Jackie, they did have a repair kit from the gas station. It spawns in very specific locations, and they just kept healing the hovercraft the entire game. It took damage, it was smoking, boom. Not revive the hovercraft, but just keep repairing it the entire time. That hovercraft felt like the 5th member of GOAT team, and it was just so impactful in that open-ended finish.
No, massively so, right? It literally gave them so much more stock to play with, where you could see they were just forcing players out of angles, because the minute they would close the distance, you're panicking, you think, right, I've got to peek. So you were forced to fight other members of GOAT. You couldn't just stand there, and then they would bail out to quickly assist when that player's attention was turned. It was really good macro that was being sort of played out there with use of the hovercraft. And like you say, that's another nice detail. I didn't catch that. That's awesome to see that was how they were able to keep it viable. For what felt like, the minute they got it until the bitter end of the game, that hovercraft was unkillable.
Yeah, because I saw it, I was like, wait, I'm 100% certain that hovercraft was smoking like 2 minutes ago. And the only way you do that is by getting a repair kit from the gas stations. I think they got it on their rotation from Novo to the Eastern Bridge. And right up of that bridge, you do have a gas station, which does usually have extra wheels, which you wouldn't need a wheel on a hovercraft, but you do need the repair kit. So actually, that was really good use of that feature, which, yeah, the loot truck's looking really good. The hovercrafts are looking really good. They're having a really big impact in the esports scene as of right now. Can't wait to see how impactful they're going to be going into the global scene, making it into PMWC, maybe also PMGC Season 1 of this year. As we check out the elimination spread once more for the likes of Go, and everyone putting up big numbers, big damage. So everyone able to actually put up some effort this game. So team-wide effort once more. I'm sure Focus, he does get taken out a little bit earlier this game here, Jackie, but I want to say Focus has got some of the craziest long-range sprays I've seen of the entire tournament. So Focus, sure, maybe this game not able to put up big number of elims, but he's still impressive in his own right when it comes to that true AR recoil control.
And mechanically very gifted. His tracking and tracing is absolutely first class, mate. You know, it's really, really wonderful to watch. And like you say, it's from substantial range as well, usually, when he is able to get stuck into some of those sprays and just maul teams. So, yeah, a big piece of this roster. Great to see them having another brilliant day of things, though. This is much more like that known quantity, right? When they were basically just turning up like the big boys on the playground time and time again back in the Club Open. That feels like the form we're seeing out of them consistently again now.
Yeah, really able to see some top tier gameplay from them once again. Go team, as Moxie will be crowned your MVP of the match with over 600 damage. Actually, really good, really interesting stats board. Look at that. The number of assists and healing done is just 0 apparently, so maybe looking very one-sided. But yeah, overall, just full body shots, apparently 95% body shots, not even having to aim for the head to get all of those eliminations, it seems. So looking very accurate, Moxie, this time around. Though intrigued to see the top frags of this game. Is it Moxie going to be number one? I can't think of anyone else that would be possibly higher, or at least maybe tying Moxie, but it's going to... Oh, actually, it's going to be... Okay. You got 4 players in front of him, which I really didn't expect. You got Retro with 7 eliminations of TGM, followed up by then Westrom of 777, and then Star, that was an MVP in the past, and same for Warriors. So actually, also players from different teams entirely. So 5 names, 5 squads, good presence from every team in the finishing moments of that match.
Yeah, I think it's kind of forgettable, right? But not in sort of for an offensive reason. It was just more the fact that TGM got a lot of their elims early game towards, initially into the mid portion. They were having a field day. So come towards the end of that game, we'd sort of forgotten about how much impact they had there. But that should still be an overall flow in terms of the points they get off elims. Yeah, there you go, 9 elims total there. So they still squeeze 11 points out of this. Fair play. That's awesome to see. GOAT team, of course, coming away very happy, Max, though. Nearly a 20-point game on that one.
I'm especially happy, actually, for Afterlife. 10 points is going to be very happy because
True,
they were on the cutoff for... I think they were the cutoff team, right, at the start of today. So they needed to get some big points. Anything close to double digits, even just like 7, 8, 9 points, I would have been very happy for them. So very, indeed, cool stuff for the Afterlife team. Let's go on to the second page. Amix. We're still not seeing it. I'm sorry. I think Miramar is going to be cutting it a little bit too close for that team as we head on to the rankings. And yet TGM able to... They're just on a full-on ascent today. Oh my goodness. TGM now in 4th position, 63 points. They are going to be making it to our finals here pretty sure. And Champions just loving in 8th place, it seems. They're not budging whatsoever. They're just sticking around that bottom side of the first page.
Yeah, as long as they can keep themselves in the top 12 at this point, I think maybe that's just where they're going to sort of coexist with some of our teams. It's not had that same oomph behind it, but they're still keeping their heads above water. Okay, yeah, you're spot on as well, right? Obviously, this is a big boon for Afterlife because they started in 12th place. You drop down to 13th. Now you're in 11th. You're at least shuffling in a positive direction. They're trending in the right direction, but they are tied with Amix again then. So 2 squads towards the bottom side that are just on the danger zone, Max, that in reality I thought actually, selfishly, would be both above 27 plus and destined to rise in my mind.
Oh, no, I agree. I would expect them to actually be near top 5. That was my genuine expectation headed into the last chance qualifiers. They've just not been able to capitalize on that opportunity. So you still have now, what's that, 4 matches left today before we do see which will be our 4 teams at the bottom to completely get kicked out of the tournament and eliminated. Hopefully they won't have bad result after bad result. If that happens, we'd be losing, I think, a clear favorite going into this tournament. So hoping for the best, but here things are going to get... Well, I say bottom 4 teams. Bottom 3, because I'm going to say that looking at one team in particular, Metacore, I don't see it happening, so I think they're stuck in last place.
Yeah, they just don't have enough points. Yeah. It would be kind of unthinkable, right? But hey, we'll see what we're going to be getting out of the remainder of those 4 games when we come back on your screens following the break.
Start the war!
Bro, want to buy an account? Check it out. Conqueror tier, firearm finishes, and outfits are all available.
Nice account. I'll buy one. I'll go get the money first. Stay here. I'll be right back. All right, got the account. See ya.
Damn it, I've been scammed.
Buying an account might not get you the account, but you'll still lose your money.
You might not receive payment for selling your account, but you'll still lose your account.
Hello everyone, welcome back as we continue on with the day. Already 2 fantastic games under our belt here, Max, to start things off into the final day of the Last Chance qualifier. Already some different results coming in thick and fast. A few teams starting to bloat with points. Bottom end of the standings, though, not looking that much different. Little bit of shuffling. Rising up for Afterlife, falling down, rising up again. Amix with barely their heads above water still as well, so not much improvement there.
Yeah, I mean, for Amix and also Afterlife, so things are getting a little bit dicey, a bit too close for comfort towards the bottom of the rankings. And actually, I was looking at the leaderboards, we kind of have this effect where you have such a big point sponge at the top right now, in particular, GOAT team that have just been so consistent so far, that you could be in a situation where the point threshold for top 12 is just so much lower than you really would initially expect it to be. So it might be a golden opportunity for teams that are still looking for that final push in top 4 in the top 12. It's going to be a bit too close for comfort, right? Once again, everything's just too close for comfort. I'm saying it a lot today, but it really is getting a bit tricky for some of these teams. But yeah, if the point threshold is really low, it goes to show that even just a strong podium finish with close to double-digit eliminations could be your ticket to the finals. So it's not time to give up on hope. There's still a ton of opportunities for these teams to make that comeback happen, but we'll see if anyone's going to be looking to hot drop on Metacore to get the Metacore buff at the start of this match.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's either the Metacore buff or the Metacore curse, right?
Yeah.
You know, if teams actually do take them down, tends to work out. Sometimes they can slap you up, but that's really just not been happening. You know, they just don't have any points whatsoever. So like you touched on before the break, it does feel like they'll guaranteed effectively be out of the runnings, even with how close it is to break into the top 12 right now. 4 games left to go, though, for that dream to become a reality for some of our other remaining squads that are within the contest of breaching the top 12. And we get 2 more Erangels out of this before we move back into the madness of Miramar. I suppose in reality then, for me, it's kind of just a matter of who do we see rise up next? We had the brilliant start from Arcred. We've had GOAT team looking fantastic. Obviously with a little bit more of that Afterlife flavour on display in the previous game. Can they actually go even one step further now? Give themselves enough points to look safe, Max, not just near, but actually safe.
We would have to see them stop going for these just survival positions, because normally you have strong positions, which is what we saw from GOAT team in that last game, Arcred, also 27 plus for a portion of that match on Erangel. Then you had one team that was Afterlife. They were just hiding under the bridge, becoming the bridge goblins, just trying to get a few placement points here and there. It's a position which is good for survival if you don't have to go for a quick exit. The moment you have to leave, I mean, we saw there, right? We lost every single member except for Windy. It is very hard to get strong points when you do get a position like that. So I want to see Afterlife get strong positions in a similar fashion to what we saw from TT Project back in Knockout, right? Where they always had one of the best positions early game under control. I think it's mainly due to Afterlife not being a very quick rotational focused team. Hopefully they can just, even speeding up your rotation by, let's say, a minute or so could easily get you access to positions and you don't have to fight for it. So if we can see that slight adjustment from that team, who knows? Afterlife could be looking to maybe make a push onto the first page of our leaderboards, and then they'll be looking comfortable to make it in the finals.
Yeah, and I think, again, you know, we saw enough that proves they can do that based on some of their prior results, right? So that's why we're saying it's more as much as like, look, right now, sure, realistically, do I think they're going to be in top 12? Yeah, I think they should be. Do I think they could be way higher, though? Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think, again, you're doing that roster a bit of a disservice in terms of the individual players if they're not able to prove that, right? Because you want some of these other teams to be a bit more scared of them, to respect them, especially when we get into finals, if they're able to stay in top 12. You don't want the lobby to think, oh, okay, they didn't look that great. Maybe we can sort of bully them a little bit, because they're not the sort of team that should be easy to push around. It's not just, you know, the man in Windy. The rest of the squad as well has a ton of talent, but it's just been a bit harder for them to kind of prove that. We're seeing more just at least placement points, but that's kind of all it is, right? It's not really one off the skin of their own back. It's playing to not lose more than anything.
I mean, they look like a shadow of their prior selves compared to what we saw back in Eastern Europe. Like, we were so impressed. We had so many big names that were able to overtake the likes of Major Pride, Virtus Pro, and you're like, oh my goodness, this team, they're looking so good. They could be a big contender here, maybe in PMG or EECA. Unfortunately here, kind of falling flat on their faces at some of these games. Of course, there's still an opportunity, but when we look in the grand scheme of the tournament, making it top 12, as you said there, Jackie, is looking really likely they'll be able to make it, but making it to top 4 after that, oh, that's going to be quite a hard task at hand.
It is indeed. Hear 'em word, though, we need a couple minutes to get things ready, so take an opportunity to get a drink, guys. We'll have a brief break, and we'll be back with the action on Erangel soon.
Start the war!
And we're back again, getting ourselves ready for Erangel, of course. That's what's yet to come on today's broadcast. Max, already it's been quite exciting. We had a bit of a pre-game chat there about some of the teams that haven't been doing too well, some of our sort of thought process behind why. Hopefully, though, we'll just have some more positive takeaways in the battleground once we get this one underway. Should be quite nice, right? Obviously, last 2 games of Erangel we're going to see throughout the entirety of the OCQ. So you'd hope it would be a good send-off.
Yeah, hopefully. Will be a good way for them to try and make a bit of a push towards the top and do well headed into the grand finals. But here we have it, guys. It's going to be time for our next Erangel. Second one of the day after a great finish from GOAT team. Will they be able to pull the back-to-back out of their hat? That is going to be happening this game. We'll see how things go down. Hospital over to Nova Ripnoya. Meaning, of course, for GOAT team, once again, as I mentioned them, I'm going to bring them back once more. They will be dropping Nova, going to the Eastern Bridge, and also getting, hopefully, access to a hovercraft and a repair kit. That is just an insanely good combo. They literally won them the game last match. It is something I would even say, for everyone at home that plays Ultimate Royale, it's an underrated loadout. You go for the early hovercraft, you snatch it away, get a repair kit with your teammate, and you just keep repairing that bad boy the entire time. Oof. Getting a hovercraft in the late game can really make the difference and secure those wins quite easily. So GOAT team playing the meta in full swing with that hovercraft.
Yeah, the hovercraft is effectively just becoming the unofficial sort of 5th man in all these squads, right?
Really,
it's
yeah.
like the dream teammate you've never had. Makes a world of difference. Yeah. Yeah, imagine everyone armed. If we could have enough to go around, have like the hovercraft monster truck rally, Max. Every team with 4 hovercrafts between them. Be a hell of a game mode.
I'm just waiting for when we have a finish where it's going to be ending on a loot truck road where the loot truck has been exploded, right? Destroyed, out of commission. And then you have GOAT team or any team coming with a hovercraft, crash it and just create an absolute fortress with that. That would be a kind of fit. And then they just have an MG3 left in the truck, and then it will be literally my favorite finish ever. So, Destined to Rise, going to be going for some early sprays here on some members, I believe it was, of KZ Esports. And yeah, KZ, I'm a little bit confused, especially last game, Jakura, right, I think it was Jackie, that left the compound, went north of Garden, next to Rozok, and then got eliminated. Very weird splits we do see. I think this is unfortunate because they did get caught off guard while dropping to their main spot. But yeah, you'll see this team and just do some random stuff. You're like, a bit of a head scratcher. I think that KZ need to clean up now because they are technically in reach of top 12, right? There was that just a 10-point difference. Easily, they can close that gap. But from the gameplay I've seen so far, I am hesitant that KZ has that kind of extra pizzazz to make it that far.
Yeah, I think it is a bit too much of a tall task for this team right now, which is a shame to say because obviously, you know, it is still feasible. It's not that far out of reach, but it just feels like they haven't had that same level of sort of pure confidence, sort of decision making, all of the pieces you need in a lobby like this, where you've got squads that have very prime rotations, very good understanding of sort of map knowledge. They're able to win their duels. The comms are on point. I don't think they're hitting all of those categories at the same time, which realistically you very much need to have within your arsenal in a game like this. Even for a side like SSE that are kind of expected to see a little bit more from, it's just not been there. It's been the same kind of conversation from them. You've had chances, but they've never converted it. And obviously the storyline with them, it's even worse, right? It's not 10 points, it's far further down, as they've only been able to rack up 18 points total over all of the 9 games we've played up to this point. So yeah, a bit of a brutal one, mate. And meta, I mean, it just feels unfair really to even address the 4 points, but it is only 4 points.
Yeah, I mean, technically, no. They 10x their points. They could make it. Which 4 points? Actually, they got point number 5.
Yeah.
They just got an elimination. Hey, look
there
at
you
that.
go.
It's the beginning of the comeback. They're going to be... oh, okay, maybe not. Well, Tiger's going to get knocked under the buggy. It's going to be Grills and BCG Pro. I was hopeful for like literally half a second before all the dreams were just shattered in front of me for Metacore. Things are looking
Wait,
a bit
though, does
risky.
this mean, Max,
yeah,
our theorem will come true? Because Afterlife, if they win against Metacore, does that mean Afterlife get the chicken dinner? That's the buff.
It should be. I mean, they will be getting a reset on one of the members, still down to a trio, but it's just BCG Pro. Come on. If you get this, you get the win. He's down to literally 1 HP. How is he still alive? got one smoke, not going to be using it. No Molotov to buy some time, and that's going to be game over. Meaning Afterlife officially here will be securing the chicken. Okay, I'm not going to go that far. We're not.
You know what the stipulation is? I think if you win the drop with all 4 alive, that's got to be the stipulation at least, right? The fact they lost one, they clearly weren't ready for it.
Yeah, meaning they do keep 3 players alive, they make it top 5. But if they got 4 members alive, Jackie, they would have won the game. Yeah, you're right. I think that's a good theory.
Hands down, yeah. Could have given it to them right then and there. But just the chicken nuggets, perhaps the chicken tender, if they're able to do slightly better.
Yeah. Second place is the chicken bucket. It's just the entire bucket, and then it's just like a 6-piece in third place.
Well, that would be the chicken dinner, right? Because effectively you can dice that up, give that to the 5 players. Maybe the breakdown would be more accurate if we had the chicken dinner for first place, the chicken tenders for second place, and then the chicken nuggets for the third.
I don't know how we haven't had a KFC collab with esports, so...
Yeah, it's true.
We need it. Come on, this is the one. Oh, Windy, no, dropping out of the vehicle in motion. Gonna be knocked, but yeah, that'll be a good collab maybe in the future. We did have it in game. We do actually, we do have Colonel Sanders as a skin in game. I don't know if you know this.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. You actually have it, and I think the backpack is just a bucket of of chicken. It's an actual thing. Yeah. Actually, during the time, you had some buildings that were transformed in KFC restaurants. That was like...
Oh, yeah.
I think this is like in the first year or 2 of the game being released, and it was just all KFC everywhere. That was really fun.
God. Yeah, what a treat. Finger-licking good gameplay on that one, Max.
Yeah. We had so many collabs over the years, but that was definitely one of the most natural collabs you could go for. And you'd eat the chicken nuggets, and guess what? You would be full HP. Just like in real life.
Yeah, it's true. Fundamental fact. That's how that works. I mean, to be fair, video game logic's anything to go by. That's what it always taught us, right? If you're low health, you just eat food and then you get all your health back.
Yeah. Or just like drink down that red potion.
Said. Yeah.
I always found it weird, when in the games they make you drink a red potion, but also the glass bottle disappears. Like, did you just munch it also? Did you need
inhale that?
Yeah, just like, well, okay. Oh, a bit of glass, bit of crunch. Feels nice.
It's like an illusion, It's more of an idea than it is real. So you can just inhale that, and the essence of the container is absorbed.
A conceptual potion as well.
Yeah. That's how you start your day on the broadcast. A lot of people don't know that. Obviously, when you're getting ready for the desk, most people, they're having a coffee. You just come in with your health potion.
That's true. I do have a place nearby where I live that actually makes potions, and you just got to mix it, and you put some dry ice, and then it really has the full effect.
The local witchery.
Yeah, it's called the Wolf's Den. The Wolf's Den in Krakow, guys. It's great. If you come around, go there. It's great. That's where I get my potions every day. Yeah, that's how I improve my aim. They got an aim potion. They got survival time potion. They got a dockening potion. Only one person has access to that one. I don't know why. I tried to get it, but they said no.
You can't handle my strongest potions.
Game
potion
no
seller,
game.
please. I'm going into battlegrounds and I require your strongest potion. You couldn't handle my strongest potion, Maxman.
That's a top tier reference. Unfortunately, not top tier gameplay apparently from Groza. He's going to get picked off and flushed pretty much instantly by the opposition. Though they've got a hovercraft on the other side. That's going to be used up by good old cheeky Amix. He's going to be hiding inside of it. I think he was spotted by Molodoy as he goes right through the building door. Everything is falling apart. Avalanche not having the best day here. And Amix having actually a decent start. You want to see them, Jackie, get points. But Go Team are going for Phase 2 third party on this fight. Looking for the stragglers of Avalanche and also from Amix. Go Team, I don't know what they ate for breakfast, but they do. I mean, actually, you know what? I know what they ate for breakfast. First place. They are looking so comfortable in the rankings, they just don't care anymore. And if they can get rid of Amix, actually, that would be a really good way to get rid of a team that could have a lot of potential to improve going into the finals.
Yeah, that's a known quantity in the finals, eliminated, right? Bear in mind as well, that's a team that kind of has a little bit of history between this other squad. They both qualified together hand in hand from the Club Open. So you know each other's tendencies a little bit more with that domestic matchup we had back in Eastern Europe. So if you can force them to not qualify by bullying them here, it's a hell of a game plan. It could certainly work out. We'll see how that fight goes. If we catch vision from it, it's calmed down a little bit. You can see Moxie's backpedaling off. They're not overcommitting. Meanwhile, we get the Arc Red POV here as they clean up versus 27 plus. More 27 minus in this situation, I'm afraid. That's a knock from Force, though, and a full flush onto Spike. So Go are completing their mission against Amix, it seems.
Thing is, you have teams at the bottom like Metacore. They don't really have too much to lose, right? They're just playing and they can be a bit of a threat. You have teams also that have nothing extra to win, like GOAT team. They're just like, well, we don't really care at this point. We know we qualified and there's not really big prize point increase. We'll be in first place in last chance qualifier, so why the hell not? A lot of teams already wounded, right? Avalanche down to a solo, 27 plus down to just one, Afterlife down to duo, same for Amix. Actually really hard for the cutoff team. This is a golden opportunity for especially the likes of Motion, KZ Esports, SSE, as you are going to have that opening in the rankings. As Kvik also going to get taken out by the blue zone. So yeah, this fight is getting a real dicey out in the blue next to Prison. As you go over to the circle, is Avalanche, another player. Bites the dust. It's KZ, and again, said it, KZ. This is a team that could be looking to make a push up in top 12, and they got themselves one early elim.
Hey, okay, this is what we wanted to see. It's what we were discussing. The head-to-head between Amix and Go as Moxie's got the hovercraft
Again.
and turns up. Oh, mate. Okay, well, it makes sense, doesn't it? They get the hovercraft and they just go, right then, let's win the game and just start taking out all of the teams that could be a threat if they make it over the 12-point bubble, the 12th-place bubble even. So that's Amix gone, Max. They're down and out. Third game of the day. Still struggling to convert too many points. That was the first time we saw them actually win a nice fight on the drop as well, right? Where, again, our eyes light up. You think, oh, look, they're willing to fight. The GOAT team. The hoofs of death.
I have flashbacks right now, and people in chat might remember this. 2 years ago, PMGC main event, a team called Incilio kept dropping Milta, which is not far from Milta, and it would get every single hovercraft. This is when the hovercraft was really new in esports, and they were the team that kind of created this meta and showed everyone how strong the hovercrafts actually are, especially in open-ended finishes. I feel like Moxie is the new Incilio. He really is. He loves it. He is just always hand in hand. He's playing with that hovercraft every single game here on the rank. He's loving it. And it does spawn on Miramar too. It would be really funny if we see GOAT team playing with the hovercraft on the Dusty Dunes. But the thing is, it's fun to watch, but it genuinely is working, Jackie. That is the best part.
Hey, it's legitimately an unbelievably viable strategy, right? There's a reason why we're saying it's just such a boon for this team, but potentially all teams that can invest to get one early. Like, you'll see Warrior now having his hovercraft and GOAT team with one of their own. Or watch them be able to put this into good use and keep it in play for as long as possible. If you don't just target fire on that bad boy, it's going to ruin your life. It was also the reason why it was interesting, right, looking at the stats for Moxie off that previous game. Yeah. Most of his shots were all body shots, and that's because he basically just sit in the hovercraft. Then when the attention was turned, when you realized, okay, I can't flush him out of it, I've got to fight his team, then he would dive out and just close range shoot you to death with like a DBS or another variant sort of shotgun. And it just made a world of difference.
I thought you were going to say because hovercrafts do body damage. I was like, but imagine if you could do a headshot with a hovercraft. I'm like, what if you could do a hovercraft headshot? What would that look like? I guess you have to drive on the head first, and then that counts as a headshot.
You'd have to hit like a rock, yeah, so you're in air, I guess, and kind of...
Just decapitate him, just like, what?
Yeah, instant.
I guess that wouldn't be possible because technically the bottom is just a big buoy, right? But, oh, there you go, talking about the hovercraft. This Moxie is on the go. Actually, 777 also do have a hovercraft in the western compound, which usually has a recoil tower over there. They're going to be camping that position. The dips, though, controlled by the entirety of GOAT, going in a little bit of a 2-2 split. And destined to rise in 10th position. I would recommend to not take the fight. You see the hovercraft, you run, you bolt. As everything is set up. But actually, look at the hovercraft. It's burning, right? Does he have the repair kit? I'm not sure, but he might. Come on. If they do get the repair plan again, that would be huge. Yeah, I think so.
That could be big. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's got the stock.
Wait,
still smoking?
Yeah. Oh no, it's fully exploded. Oh, I thought it was just on fire. Okay, it's gone. It's gone. Oh no. Their 5th player. They're down to just a 4-man, Jackie. It's game over. No.
Revive him quick. Save him. Save that beautiful hovercraft, but it's not meant to be, unfortunately. The hovercraft graveyard. Ooh, talking of which, the Grim Reapers of 777 rock up to the party versus Afterlife, and they are out on this one. So only the 4 points off the back of that one wipe in terms of the elims here. That's all they get out of this game. Bear in mind, this could actually open up that conversation of the teams beneath them, possibly Motion and KZ. More so Motion, maybe, with the fact they've still got the 4 players alive here, to try and climb a little bit with the 2 teams above you that are guarding that safe zone in the top 12, currently being out of play.
By the way, just to explain, when I say repair kit, I mean welding gun, just so people that like know the exact name is the welding gun. But yeah, no, I fully agree with your point there, Jackie. Looking at Motion, KZ, SSC, they could all be looking to catch up, as that is going to be an opening in the rankings. But not only them, I would even say for the likes of D2R, Champions, it's a way to distance yourself away from that 12th cutoff rank, to look extra comfortable headed in the last few matches of the day and of the entirety of LCQ, right? So this is going to be a big opportunity being gifted. Will they be able to take it, though, as it's right in front of them? We'll see how this game keeps on unfolding. A D2R Darling going to get knocked. Tends to be always one of the first few players to get knocked, it seems. Very unfortunate turn of events. The Champions in Harry Potter Tower. Very nadeable position. Stakhanov has got total 4 nades, 1 already chucked out, and that's going to be perfectly thrown onto Atomic. These smokes are not going to be enough to keep Champions alive, and yeah, they just can't suffer these casualties at this stage. They're really down to a trio, now looking to be down to just a duo. It's going to be Kino and Fearless. But yeah, Champions just, compared to what we saw in Knockout, Jackie, looking like a fully different team. The confidence is just not there.
No, not at all.
Even
it
Kino
really does feel like, you know, yeah, man. That's the weird thing, is it's just the players that wanted to fight and were able to just show us such a high level of like mechanical prowess. It ain't been there, and then it's also just the questionable decisions on the early game, time and time again. Feels weird. Maybe at this point they're just thinking, all right, well, as long as we get top 12, it doesn't really matter, and then they'll bring the energy back. But it hasn't looked great.
Thing is, I know we would have some people saying, oh, they're just not trying, they know they're in. I'm like, maybe they should. Maybe they should try a little bit, at least. 51 points. I don't know, if they keep getting 0 pointers or even just 1 or 2 pointers, they could slip out. It would be, like, you need things to line up perfectly for that to happen, but still, they're not, like, they haven't got their ticket to the finals yet, unlike teams in top 5, like Ozrox, like TGM, Arcred, 777, and especially GOAT team that's got almost, by the way, 100 points. Oof, yeah. Meaning business. But yeah, if you're in the middle of the rankings, you're not 100% in just yet, so you can't afford to go out early. As Mad Esports, looking at their position in 7th, 56 points, looking pretty good. Especially if they can convert this into like, what, just even an extra 5-point game would be decent. Everyone, set up shop in decent spots. Even TGM got a 2-2 split here, which is very fun. They got 2 players southwest of Yasnaya Polyana, or as Yas, as Jackie would say, and 3 players over in the Harry Potter Tower in the fields.
That's great, Max. Well done. I'm glad you tied that one back in. That's brilliant. We need to work that into every desk segment as well.
I hate myself for this.
No, it's good. It suited you. It suited you,
It
Max.
suited me. No,
yeah,
don't say that.
On brand.
No.
It was nice. I'm glad to hear. But let's see if our teams will be dropping the ass, or if unfortunately it will be a bit of a slow one for them if they get tested. I'm expecting this absolute collapse eventually round towards the Champions, boys, with Mad nearby. Ooh, they actually unload with the first stone being cast out towards SSE. Now they're going in. Pedal to the metal. They close round the backhand side. Look to see what more damage they can do. Fearless is isolated by the UMP there of Absolute. Bad Boy dealing damage onto 777 in the meantime for Ozorox. A man actually getting third-partied out as well, with even Arc Red seeing opportunities. No one expected Scorp in the close corner. So Corp will punish with a shotty. A Mad are officially out.
That was such an unnecessary risk of Stakhanov to make the leap animation. Of course, when you are stuck in a leap animation over a window, you can't shoot back, and that was the easiest knock ever for Scorp. So well done here. SSC able to get himself that 1 elim, though. Got to be careful. There's still a lot of attention being thrown your way in Arcred. that want to try and just maybe not take up the compound, but at least hold you off out in the blue to make sure you don't get into the circle. And that means also they will be getting extra placement points. We do get to 8 teams remaining, meaning placement points indeed are starting to roll on in for these squads. But yeah, looking at the POV of Arcred, as I mentioned, just wanting to gatekeep all of Star Soldier's Epic. And that's going to be a good spray. Flick here. Oh my goodness. The recoil control with the headshot is looking big. It's looking strong. Up to 9 eliminations. Arcred and GOAT team today, Jackie, are going absolutely mental. And here just going on that western sweeping motion, now looking to put their focus on all of TGM, possibly in the very near future.
And Arcred, man, again, right, this has been a team that's looked so impressive mechanically today. They've been very, very good in the fight. Fleek and Hardboy in particular, they have just non-stop wanted to take every battle they could possibly be involved in. So it wouldn't be surprised if this could be another one where they show us that, extend their lead even further, see if they can dethrone GOAT team from the top spot and try to snatch that crown away from them. Fleek throwing out the nade, hits the 3-pointer to take down the last member of SSE. So another one of those squads towards the bottom standings that wanted to move up, having that opportunity denied. But Motion taking the fight to GOAT, this would be a hell of a way to send a message if they can squeeze more points out of this game, Max.
Oh, it would be fun to see if they can snatch away the dits in the fields. There's going to be Generational Miracle fighting in the open fields northeast, and Generational Miracle here getting absolutely battered and bruised. Down to 1, it's Sanich into the buggy, trying to get the hell out of dodge. He also lost the tie on the buggy, so you've got to be careful on those turns. It's going to be way harder to control, but he gets to the safety of the Wizard Tower. We'll be going back into hiding. As a Motion, yeah, able to get himself a really, really good start with those 5 eliminations. Have yet to lose a single member, right? They can get the reset. I think it's on Duchu, which he does get indeed back up on his 2 feet. The circle shifting to the west, and look, I wish we could see the map feed right now. Arcred are just so aggressive. They're pushing on 777. They're taking up the high ground. They're zoning teams away such as KZ and GOAT from a distance. Arcred are the absolute overlords of this map, Jackie, and it's looking really hard to take this chicken away from them as all the other teams are focused over to the east. They are the only western team at this point in time.
Yeah, they're just ruling with an iron fist, and they're able to take whatever they want from it as well. Stars even got the confidence to split off from the squad, clear out any of the angles, get a bit of a scouting play on the go, and potentially take some of the loot from the supply crate that's come in as well. And they can double back together and play off of this. He obviously wanted to get a bit of a look round to see what the end result was from that encounter between TGM and Motion as well, expecting maybe there's some weakened players there. They could try and squeeze a few more points off. So they split into 2 duos. Fleek right now very close to the commotion of KZ and Go. You see Motion's POV, they go back over looking to try and finish the job onto TGM. Hardboy looking around, his eyes peeled like a hawk, waiting to see where he can deal damage. All the nades going down onto 777. Ooh, talking of nades, it seems like Unfeeling gets self-knocked by the team there as they invested a lot of utility up to the Wizards Tower to deal with TGM. And this is the GOAT team POV. Wide arc over from Force. They got that nice ridge to play in, but they want to make it uncomfortable for the other squads nearby, D2R and KZ. And KZ are now officially finished, with Moxie being the last one to fall.
Yeah, Moxie doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay with the remains of his hovercraft. His buddy gone way too soon in this game. But Ayato is going to be on the front line. He's going to be actually in a 3-1 split, so he's really trying to create that anchor point for the rest of his squad. They've got more dips. It looks like these are the only dips, but no, you do have an extra set of dips west, slightly more up north of Destined to Rise. The thing is, without vehicles, and a lot of them have already exploded, is not going to be an easy transition. As we have 4 teams alive. Arcred, full team. Motion, GOAT, full squad, and also Destined to Rise. Actually, even Motion are full team after that initial reset onto Duchu. But Matek will get headshot. Force is looking good. The thing is, all of the members of GOAT team and Arcred, Jackie, genuinely, long range are so perfect. Those spray and recoil controls are looking absolutely beautiful. So dealing with that when you're out in the open and all you have to keep you alive are these smokes, Motion, having a really bad time this match.
You know, they are beastly from range, so it does make it far harder. dream scenario really is for a team like Motion. It is Arcred just basically all in eventually. You create enough space for them to try and backline into this, get a few more placement points out of it, and also those additional elims, especially if Destined to Rise go down soon with only the 2 elims. Sure, they'll get some placement points off this coming in 4th place, but it could still be way better for Motion with the already racked up 6 elims and the 2 teams above them being out of the runnings early into this game in Afterlife and Amix. So a lot riding on this one for potentially a new team to break into the top 12. Star, though, wants to try and shine bright as he peeks over onto Goat, sees all the explosives coming his way, and quickly has to tuck into a new angle.
Yeah, trying to shine bright, not like a diamond, but hopefully a good nade. Goat team 9 circle, gonna have to make a push over, and you can see Star sees that. He gets in the car, he's like, I know a full squad is coming my way. I wasn't able to get a single knock with those 5 grenades. Not worth it. I'm going to relinquish it for free over, as Moxie does get a headshot with the Org of Glory. That's going to be a really, really good knock to find. But they do have the dip. They are in circle, meaning that should be an easy res, unless Arcred have different plans in mind. They are going to get closer, get in nade range themselves, as Destined to Rise. Just hoping Arcred fight Goat Team directly, because if that does happen, guess what? There's going to be an easy third party. Destined to Rise are literally next door. So that could be an opportunity. Though, again, a team in top 10, if they do get a win here, I would say this would be their ticket for the grand final secured. So Destined to Rise know there's a lot riding off the back of this game. Same for even Motion in 13th place. Could be for the first time, possibly, of the entirety of Last Chance Qualifiers, Jackie, making in top 12.
Exactly. They've been forcing Amix out of the runnings as well. Which, you know, when you think about the fact that Amix went down so early to Goat Team, that targeted fight, it could make a world of difference if they can't recover with not too many games left in the LCQ. Matic finally found, though, Duchu as well being knocked. So the chance for Motion to rat it out long term and just get those extra placements they wanted. Well, that opportunity is falling away from them. It's only Ked with a sliver of HP. He's able to get the heal off, but for how long can he delay the inevitable? Trapped inside of the smoke, Star with a tracing, and it's actually Bets that secures it. So our top 3 teams defined now into this battleground. We have Arc Red, Goat Team, and Destined to Rise.
Yeah, a really good shot from Bets here, able to beat down Ked into submission, get that 3rd place, get the podium, get the placement points. But Goat Team here taking a bit of a beating down there, also in the dip. Ayato spotted out. Fleek it. Oh my goodness. Also the movement tech able to get instantly right back into the buggy as he was peeking through the smoke in FPP. He's looking to get the angle into Focus, but Focus will not let that go unpunished. Really good response. Able to actually buy some time for their teammates to get the reset, get rezzed up, go for the first aids. The thing is, all the players are just slowly but surely flooding right over the lip of that dip. Fleeker, though, did get knocked. He was the 1-player nade range, so that's going to give a little bit more respite and chill time for the entirety of Goat Team. Hopefully to go for the full reset. They're looking for their teammate of Force. Beato naded up by Star. Again, the nades are looking so strong. And Goat Team, they keep getting rezzed, knocked, really struggling to just stay alive in that position.
Yeah, it's been uncomfortable for them. And the longer it goes on like this, the bigger and brighter Arc Red are going to be feeling. Both of these teams looking like they're going to be comfortably over the 100-point mark at the end of this game. But for Arc Red, just how high does that total tally go? Yes, Goat can revive the 2 players, but they're running low on supplies with how long this fight's been going on for. Ammo running dry, a few of them not having the best meds to work with. And with Focus once again being knocked from the nade of Hardboy, this becomes quite a scary prospect. Destined to Rise, looking to just try and stay alive. But the nade rolls in. Chip damage done. Trade back out with Arc Red, looking to see if they can squeeze on this one. Put the pincer maneuver on them potentially with this split from Star.
But the thing is, for Goat Team, this dip is just a grenade magnet. They come, they roll down even deeper towards the center. That is usually where you're going to be parked up. But Goat, the thing is, they've taken a lot of damage from those nades. I do think their vests and helmets must be down to literally just a few HP remaining. They're going to be taking the full brunt of the damage in the next encounter. Unless they were able to get access to a few death crates, which they did have a few here and there, just kind of spread throughout the entirety of the fields. It's not going to be easy. As Goat still have a nade for Moxie, trying to get it cooked up. It's a chuck. Will he get it onto D2? Oh, he does find the knock onto Ralph. That's huge. That's going to relieve a bit of pressure. Though, got to be careful. The smoke, if it dissipates, that might be GOAT Team's opportunity to go for the push and eliminate all of Destined to Rise. But Ralph is going to be actually there, snatched by Moxie. But here you go, you show your back for too long, and Hardboy will punish it. It's down to a few stragglers here, Jackie, for the win. A duo of Arcred looking to claim the win.
Arcred. Will they be seeing red in this final encounter versus the GOATs and be able to pick it up? That's the big question. Ayato armed, but falters under the pressure from Glory. And now it comes down to Force to try and run away on this one. He turns the corner, but can't keep himself in it as GOAT will buckle. And Arcred once again deliver an absolute showstopper and secure that chicken dinner for themselves with a 27-point game.
Uzbekistan represent here at PMGO EECA. What a finish. 17 eliminations. Very Rondo-esque here from this team. That was just such a good amount of control to the West. And I would say the biggest menace for Arcred this game was not the teams they were constantly fighting throughout the entirety of that match. No. It was, did they still have gas in their cars because they were driving for so long over to the West? So really, really good game. And the amount of presence they had was just absolutely mental. Second to none, as Arcred will be looking really good. And they were already high in the rankings, right? So this is just making a bit of a statement that they mean business here at this stage. But I really want to try and focus the attention, Jackie, this game on how good Motion had it, Destined to Rise had it. These two games, these two teams having such a good game here this time on Erangel, this could have been their opportunity to push it into the finals, and I think that just happened exactly as they were hoping for.
Yeah, no, legitimately so, man. It's kind of crazy, actually, as well, right, that obviously all of yesterday, that conversation about Amix, like, oh, will they come alive? Will they be able to display what we expected from them? At least, even worst case scenario, Max, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, they'll still be top. They'll still be top, even if it's, a bad run of form from them. Now, I'm starting to question if that's even going to be the reality with a squad like Motion individually looking great and now also being able to steal a big game here. You're going to force them out of the top 12. I don't see Motion slowing down. This is scary stuff towards the bottom end. That fight for effectively 12th place becomes a real topic of conversation. Again, though, massive shout out here on the form we've seen consistently today from Arcred. Every one of these players who's been delivering what it matters most. Hardboy, we've been ranting and raving about. Fleeke's been a beast. In this game, though, it's Glory that lives up to his name. Massive plays, total domination out there on the battleground. 8 elims, nearly 1k damage.
I mean, today Glory is just a tank. He's just pushing every single fight. He gets knocked, I think, multiple times per game, and the team just keeps reviving him because they want to make sure Frankenstein's monster can keep dominating on these games. But no, I think genuinely the entire team is looking very impressive. But I'm kind of almost not interested too much on the big performances from GOAT Team, Arcred, Avalanche, all of that, because we know they've made it. I'm very curious about the fights at the bottom of the rankings towards that 12th position. But also, in chat, you don't have to fight. Actually, you might have to fight a little bit because there's only 75 here of the Crocodile backpack. You can all enter the code or go and scan on that QR code and you will get it for yourself on the account. But again, only 75 are remaining, so you better do it now or even just pause the stream if you want to get it or go back a few seconds. It just disappeared if you want to get it in your arsenal right now. It's looking really snazzy. I wanted to redeem it. I didn't do it yet, but if it's, you know what, I will do it. If it's still there at the end of the show, I will scan it myself. So make sure to be there and secure it yourself.
Yeah, normally there's 75 of every skin available, but during the rehearsal it went down to 74 after Max saw the QR code. I don't know why, but weird. Maybe there's a correlation there. Hey, it's well worth it, Max. It's a beautiful bit of kit. Lovely, fun backpack to have in your skin collection, of course, like we're highlighting there. But a lot of great giveaways. The chat's been doing well throughout the run of the ECA finals here, Max. A lot of awesome skins.
Yeah, we have the Thompson skin at the very start. Then we had the overall character skin, and then you have this one. What are we going to get for the finals? Are we going to... I don't know what we could get. What could it be? Maybe an M4 skin? A Glacier? No, definitely not Glacier. That will never happen. But here we go. MVP of the game is going to be Glory, of course, getting almost up to 10 eliminations this game. Not quite, though, as the amount of healing done is going to be 208. So, yeah, he was definitely taking a lot of damage this game over the overall damage of healing done this game. So... Glory, sure, happy with this performance, right? I want to see the overall top fraggers of this game. I think we might have some players of Destined to Rise, which you don't see too often on this graphic. as we're looking at it. Actually, no, it's not going to be any Destined to Rise. I thought we'd have at least one. It's going to be actually dominated by Arcred. They've got Glory, Hardboy, and Fleeke. Forceful Goat team. And then it's just going to be Matek from Motion. That usually we do see Ked, right? Or Ducci, Jack, if I'm not mistaken. So good to see Matek here able to get a little bit of a point increase this match.
Yeah, no, it definitely. It feels like Ked's been the big name for this team. Then Duchu in close second, right? But Matic rising up, that's lovely. Goes to show that potentially towards the end of the day with the last 2 games, if they're firing on all cylinders, this big stepping stone could be a leap towards safety in the top 12. And that's why, obviously, what we were both highlighting there, that sort of fight over 12th place becomes a real big reality now. Because when we get down to this lower side, you'll see some of the teams did not earn any points whatsoever with how early they went out in this game, Max. It was all top heavy.
It was. Like, yeah, you go 27, 15, 10, 8, 7, and then you drop to 4. Oh, it might plateau a little bit on the second half of the rankings for this match, but still, yeah, as you said, very, very top heavy, which is good to see Motion and Destined to Rise up there. Even 777, but they were already pretty comfortable up there, so I'm not going to really count them too much in that conversation. But Motion, Destined to Rise, really happy about their performance that last game. KZ Esport 2 getting 4 points, Afterlife getting 4 points. The thing is, it's good to get these points every single game, but when you have your competition overtaking you, Afterlife are slipping, Amix are slipping. I mean, look at Amix here getting only 3 points this match. I feel like that would be the most unexpected ending to Last Chance Qualifiers, Jackie, is seeing Amix getting taken out in the bottom 4, which, what the hell?
And I think, honestly, it was mentally, when I was looking at it, it was 10 points that Motion actually needed for that to be a reality to push down Amix. So they should be in, I think, 11th place with Afterlife in 12th. We'll see in a couple minutes' time. But yeah, a huge result from them, Max.
Yep, we'll have to see how that's going to be working out. But Arcade going to be jumping up in 2nd place. As Destined to Rise also able to exit for the first time the second half of the rankings, now in 8th position, meaning they do overtake Champions. And Champions... great analysis. A little bit weird gameplay we're seeing from them. Not a lot of synergy. They still are going to be in 9th position, 51 points on board. But yeah, the cutoff here, 12th position, is going to be Afterlife. Amix dropping down to 13th. It is looking terrible. There's literally just a 2-point difference between Amix in 13th and then 11th position of Motion with 45 points. It's really close. KZ, they were able to close their gap slightly thanks to those 4 points they got this game. I would say right now, for the slots remaining, it's going to be a 5-6 team race right now for those last few positions in the finals.
It could go down to legitimately like one game, one fight. Although the weird caveat to it is, right, obviously we were touching on that game, Max. It's the fact that if you're Goat Team, if you're Arc Red, I know it's not too common, but you could willingly just target teams now to control that entry, right, going into the finals, because there's no way you're physically not making it. You know, it's all guaranteed. It's all said and done. No one's even getting close to taking you off the top or second spot. Why not make your life easier in finals, perhaps, by besting one of these sides that you don't want to be there, especially for Goat Team, right, where they kind of have each other's tendencies now off the back of the Club Open. Wouldn't be surprised if they see an opportunity to fight Amix. Maybe they just take it.
The thing is, you also don't have prize pool increase when it comes to Last Chance Qualifiers. So you genuinely have nothing to lose at this point. And also, the reason why I would say it would be good to get rid of Amix if you're one of those top teams is not only because of the individual players, because of course all the players are looking really strong on Amix and just have such a high ceiling when it comes to this region, but they also in the background have 2
Yeah, same. Oh, no, I'm still here. It's all right. Max is on his way back. Don't worry, guys. He was making a good point. There he is. All right, carry on.
Yeah, okay, so talking about Amix, it's really good if you can get rid of them early on because the players are individually very good in this region. And also in the background, they have really good analyst and coach. They have as a coach Purple, and as an analyst, it is, or maybe I swapped those roles, but they also do have Old Boy, which is a previous top-tier player on Na'Vi back in the day. And you know that they're going to be workshopping in the background some really good comeback opportunities. So I would say, as much as I want to see them make it to the finals, it would be a really good decision to make sure, even just hot drop them or camp their early rotation, because we know where they drop on every single one of these battlegrounds. Playing Path is going to be here for our final Orangle, not only of the day, but also of the entirety of the Last Chance Qualifiers. It's going to be Novo all up to good old Western Hospital. as AMX have dropped on out. They will be going to their usual military base drop without Aurora being in the lobby, as per usual. But I'm not seeing anyone around them, so it seems like for now at least, they will be safe. Oh wait, Motion's dropping too. Or maybe they're not safe. Maybe I take it back. Actually, ooh. That's not normal.
No, abnormalities arising. I don't know, man. Maybe they're amped, right? No break on that one, so maybe they've just gone back in and thought, all right, let's just play with the momentum. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, they're dropping west, so it's not like they want to clash directly with Amix inside of the base. Just gonna maybe get himself some car spawns. Also, it's a very southern plane, so maybe this is just their secondary drop location, but we haven't really seen. Okay, well this is a terrible combo of plane path and phase 1 circle. A lot of teams gonna have to go for a quick early rotation, especially the bridges are gonna get a bit hectic here for Goat Team, Amix, and Motion, because if you want to try and leave, Eastern Bridge usually has some teams that like to stick around for a little bit longer. Champions are onto the Western Bridge. If they pull a phallic back in SA, right, for the side of Four Thrives, maybe they decide to gatekeep the entire area. But as of right now, teams are just also looking to leave their secondary drop, because guess what? The circle is so high up north, it's just not worth it. 27 plus, Arcred. Also the side of KZ, just instantly in the car, getting into zone, not worth delaying that rotate whatsoever.
Yeah, in the vehicles, making a bit of a move. Keeping themselves in a position to try and coast into a bit of a safer spot early on. We'll see how it goes for KZ. Obviously, they were another side that potentially could have been on a little bit of an up and up with how they've been playing, but they are a bit further down. It's about 10 points or so, 11 points in reality, potentially there, depending on how things go between them and Amix. But hey, if another team starts to lap them, if they go down early, it could be certainly some spooky signs. But for now, early start into the game, like you touched on, our last Erangel. So following this, it's the back-to-back Miramars that we'll have to play with, where maybe some teams' fortunes can change, depending on how comfortable they are. And we'll see if that change of battleground does make any difference whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why they're shooting. There's no one here. It's just, we have arrived in our compound. Actually, usually they do share it with TGM, so maybe they're just taking a few shots to alert TGM of their presence, just so they don't randomly mix and get intertwined into each other and then go for a fight they don't want to take. So just ringing the alarm right now. This is the most uneventful early game, by the way.
I know.
I'm looking, I'm like, do you have anything, except for Motion dropping South Ridge, or South Coastline of a military base island? That's the only thing of notice. But actually, we do have a little bit of a crash here. It's going to be on farm. It's going to be Destined to Rise and 777. Though again, Destined to Rise, after that last game, 53 points, going to be looking really good when it comes to making it and remaining in top 12 for the end of the day. But going out early, having a 0-pointer would definitely not be a good start they were hoping for. As 3TN and 6 going to get knocked. 3TN fully flushed out of the game. That's going to be him 6 feet under. Really weird this fight does unfold, though, I do have to say, because they usually do share the area next to Milton Farm. They should know how to pull their phase 1 rotation without directly crashing onto each other. So I'm surprised we're still seeing that happen on, what is this, day number 6 of the tournament, right? A little bit unsure as to why that's happening at this point.
No one really knows, Max. It's one of life's great mysteries, I feel. You know, it could be quite an introspective conversation to have to get to the bottom of it, but we'll leave that for another time. Meta absolutely getting bombed out once again, though. If the age-old adage is to be believed, the team that takes them down cleanly could take a chicken dinner, so we'll see if that comes to reality once again, as Avalanche have looked bloody good early on into the LCQ, but it got a bit harder the longer things went on for them. Weren't able to keep up that same oomph that they had initially. So nades being thrown over, good chip damage. Goat capitalizing again as well with early points versus another one of the big dogs that are in the battleground in 777, down to just 2 players, as they might actually get finished off before we even get any further into this one. We could be losing our first team in the form of 777.
They're so sad they couldn't get the Metacore buff. They see the smoke, yeah, it's just going to fall a little bit of a shot. But yeah, they don't know the 2 players, right, of Metacore just already left the building, not in hospital. And it seems like the teams really took it to heart when I said this is a very uneventful early game. They started going for a fight in hospital. That doesn't happen very often, so something a bit out of the ordinary. Always happy to see these kind of engagements happen. As they're checking every single nook and cranny of this area. They have no clue that the full team is now on their way to the west in George Po itself. Things now slowing down, coming to a halt for this lobby. Everyone just wants to try and get access to center of the circle, get access to a decent compound, a decent building. It's going to be the main focus. As I'm looking at my minimap, Amix and Motion to the east in Novo. Goat already left the entire area. So Motion, I'm surprised they're going over there because normally Goat are in Novo.
It's all right, mate. The move is happening. It's been happening to me too, Max. You're not alone. Don't worry about it. But let's see where we go from here. As the engagement versus champions is what we're contending with right now. You got Leon 44 taking pot shots back over from the Ozorox crew, as it will go down to a bit of a rough encounter for him. 1-for-1 trade there, Max, as Blue gets the AUG on target and strikes back towards them. Fearless keeps the pressure on to try and flush out another man, as he will put them down in the dirt. Nade out as well through the front side. Near miss onto Bad Boy. Almost connected that one, but Bad Boy still holds on for now.
Bit of an altercation here. Good old Ruins. Champions, again, please do not lose another player early game. It just keeps happening. Every match, it feels like. If they reach the late game, they're just down to a duo or trio usually. It's very unusual, especially based on their initial really strong performance back in Knockout, right? Which is the most surprising thing, Jackie, I would say, for Champions. Amix, to be completely blunt, were bad the entire event. Champions, Knockout, had a really good start, right? They just barely missed out, making it in, I think it was 5th place at the end, just not making it into top 4. And here, this feels like a different team. I don't know what's happening with them. I hope we do see Knockout stage champions back in the finals, but right now, this is just not it, Chief. As SSC also looking to push up a little bit versus Ozorox and Champions. Yeah, we just know this team has so much more they can offer. This stage, just not been it for them, unfortunately.
No, we're not been the dream. Losing one player would be brutal for Champions as well. They want to get some damage done and do it cleanly. And obviously Ozorox, not really a pushover of a squad, so there's always a chance that they could upset and maybe fight back on this. They petered off from one another, at least creating a bit of space, but maybe Star Soldiers X Epic will rock up believing that they could third party safely onto this. Although, like I touched on, mate, even a weakened Ozorox is still a strong team. So for SSE, let's see if this is done cleanly. Blue with the pot shot, being able to get the connection up there. Silence, taking the swing round on the rock side. Seeing if he can finish it, eventually will convert as he knocks that man. It's a good follow-up. Shuts down Blue. Looks scary, though. Looks scary, though, with the peaks that were coming out.
Yeah, really good use of his AR with the red dot. Silence, able to silence the competition. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at the circle. It's headed north again on phase 2. It's on the coast next to Severny. Which actually, okay, I know I keep repeating this, but it is on a loot truck road. We could have a very similar thing happening here where it does end towards it and could be used as a decent hiding spot or cover for the right team. And by the way, when my voice disconnected, I was talking about earlier, Motion sent it into Novo, which usually is Goat's team's position. And Goat's team went for a little bit of an early rotation compared to what they usually do. I genuinely have the impression Motion are just on an absolute chase mission. They're trying to find some people and eliminate them. They didn't get A-mixed, they almost did, but yeah, this is Motion looking a bit desperate for point, it seems. But taking down GOAT would literally not gain you anything because, well, guess what? GOAT are in first place. So not sure what the eye-chilling decision is there, as destined to rise, despite a strong finish last game, making it to the podium. They will not be able to reach those heights once more on a angle. As Betts, sole survivor, in the buggy, deeper and deeper in the blue. Got a lot of meds to work with, so he should be able to cross the river and survive, but the thing is, not going to be expecting a big pointer from this team.
Oh, mate, this would be a bit of a brutal one. If they do actually get taken out by A-Mix, it'd be the side you do not want to feed points to, besting you. And then obviously it gives them that opportunity to try push you further down, where obviously it's very close in terms of who's in the position to actually keep themselves in the top 12. So a lot of storylines building there down towards the lower end of the standings. We'll keep with it as it goes on. And for KZ, they're slightly further out of that contest, but they are very close to GOAT team in this area. You can see them set up just outside of Savoni, so a chance that they could scrap amongst one another, with perhaps TGM wanting to get a look into this as well. Another side that could be willing to fight and see what they can bring out. Oh, pre-fire towards the window. Moxie nearly connecting that one. They're able to keep themselves moving, at least for now.
A good little surround strat from GOAT team. Actually playing the northern edge is really good. You're making sure you don't get surrounded. They're trying to actually surround all of KZ. Ayato, he's got so... I feel like we get to a point here, Jackie, where actually all the members of GOAT team get nades and they just give it all to Ayato. They're like, yeah, you're the nade guy. Your nades are really crisp. Just take them all. And he's actually really been able to capitalize a lot on those utilities in the past, and especially today, especially on that first game on Rondo. Impressive stuff. Champions back to their POV. Demo now will be the one getting knocked. And the blue zone's going to start to tick hard. We're making it to phase 4 very soon, so you don't want to stick in that area for too long. As Melaz dropping on down also in the elimination feed, and that's going to result in the full elimination. Ozarok's out of the game. They're still good for the finals, but not the way you really want to get eliminated in these matches.
No, it would not be the ideal outcome whatsoever. Ooh, it's a close range engagement for Focus as he gets up the stairway and spots Moxie just trapped in the corner, cowering. So yeah, this is certainly getting a bit scary for them, one by one, losing a lot of their firepower over on the KZ crew. Motion, of course, looking a bit black and blue around the edges as well, with the shots that have been unleashed upon them from the A-Mix team. With them finishing off on this one, you think about the fact that that's going to give them a massive injection of early game points in this, and they're going to start to peel ahead of you. If Afterlife are then able to build on this one, you breaking into the top 12 in the prior game could very quickly be taken away for the Motion roster. The Polish powerhouse that were exciting to watch today, D2R in the meantime also go down, so they only get a 1-point game out of this, with the entire squad being finished off now.
53 points. Ooh, they're not safe. They could fall out if they get 2 bad games back-to-back on Miramar. Could be looking dicey for Destined to Rise. Good Molotov here, going to be forcing back the entirety of GOAT team, so Casey's got a decent response. But thing is about GOAT, they're very, very committed to these fights. If they commit early on, they will not give up. They will be relentless until they've eliminated the entire team. That is the GOAT team way. It's currently up to 4. That should be a very easy piece of util, but he's down to just a smoke there. So he's just trying to get some maybe intel onto Yen. Don't want to go solo though. He peeks over with the Org. That's an instant punish. He's going to flush it actually onto Force. He's going to go behind the wall. Just going to make it a bit harder, and Moxie is there to save the day once again. GOAT team, they'll get the reset, but TGM, they're just there around the corner on the other side of that road, as unfortunately Retro going to hit a huge Molotov onto Moxie, and that might even confirming that's going to be a lot of tick damage, way too much for him to bear.
Can't whiff withstand the force any longer. So they buckle. So a few teams looking a bit green around the gills here, about 16 minutes deep into this last Erangel of the day, making it uncomfortable for them. Ooh, didn't expect this though. The P90 plays in the Elim feed there, as we're seeing a bit of a spray through from 27 plus to try and thin the herd out of the Afterlife team. Afterlife, of course, need to have a good game on this one. That's kind of the topic of conversation. That one Elim they got will be enough to put them back into the top 12 above Motion, but that's not enough in the grand scheme of things. They have to have a better flow of it, especially with Amix now waking up into this game and getting a 7 Elim collection thus far. GOAT team are crumbling in the combat toward TGM as well. Moxie, the last man, the survivor, makes his move. It's good movement, but he's got no health. Dives in the vehicle to try and keep himself alive, but the shotgun ends him.
Gets in the car, gets right on the highway to hell. There's going to be TGM getting themselves that elimination. Really good, by the way. 27 plus, they got the P90, right? I think you spotted earlier in the elimination feed. They also have a FAMAS. So they got 2 airdrop weapons. And I talked about the FAMAS, how that's a really strong airdrop weapon because you can add the extended mag. You can just keep on spraying, and especially the rate of fire on that weapon is absolutely mental. It's ludicrous. So TGM, they're going to be geared up very nicely for the rest of this game. But actually 27 plus, yeah, able to also make a push a bit deeper on. TGM also got some stuff, so 27 plus and TGM are looking very good loot-wise, as you saw in these last 2 fights. But Afterlife, I think you mentioned them also earlier, right, Jackie? They had a good position. They were in shooting range. They got crashed upon and lost half of their team. So this is a game that could have been looking so good for them macro-wise, right, in terms of position. But they instantly drop the ball the moment a fight comes their way. And they have to go back into hiding in the shelter location of shooting range.
Yeah, that's the bit that makes it scary, dude. It's uncomfortable as well, of course, where at least like you're keeping your heads above water, right? With the fact they got 1 Elim, so even if they go down, they are still back into the top 12, at least for now. But that's more kind of just, I don't know, you know, it's not a consistent trend. It's not something they're guaranteeing. It's just for the interim period. It could all still very well change on Miramar. Yeah. So this duo's got to get an awful lot done with very little to work with in reality. So it's scary signs for them when it looked like maybe they would have had a chance to show us what they're made of in a game like this. Meanwhile, Amix, just when you think it's all over, right? Suddenly, I guess they've looked at the standings, gone, we're not even in the top 12, guys. And now they just start giving it. They're playing the style of PUBG Mobile we know they can.
The Amix prank is now over. Very similar to Aurora, right? It's the same thing. Oh, well, they're going to start messing around for the first 2 matches. And now we'll step up. We'll get the points that we know we can secure. Actually, really good dip here for Amix. Able to keep their buggy in working condition. And same with the extra vehicle they have in their control. A circle going to the west, and actually crash site also on the mountain is not going to be available, so Avalanche are going to have to start thinking about their next step in this game. The natural progression is going to start to get very much focused around the entirety of this mountaintop and also slope headed down southeast towards shooting range. So in terms of playable areas, there aren't that many available, as Kvik pushing up with the DBS, instantly sending Fearless into the Shadow Realm and able to get himself an extra point. So that's going to be looking really good. Amix almost at double-digit eliminations. Whew. If we can see that on Miramar 2, we should be good, and we should be seeing Amix headed to the final stage of PMGO ECA.
Yeah, which is obviously the outcome we want, right? We want the best quality of competition going into those finals. And even if they've had a rough couple of days here with the LCQ, they are a team that, by all means, in terms of the known quantities, should be within those 16 teams. So far better to see a true test of the AMX roster, at least up to this point. It's been a lot better for them. Good change of fate on Erangel.
Even the late game is slow. It's very interesting. There's definitely been a vibe shift. Is the only way I'm going to analyze this. That teams are getting very cautious, being very aware of their situation of the entirety of LCQ, and really want to take fights only if they're absolutely necessary. Talking about Absolute, though, it's going to be mad. They're going to be sending their 2 members of Absolute and Bio deeper and deeper in the zone, making it over to the outskirts of shooting range. So that's going to be their new home for the time being, as also TGM, after a successful fight versus GOAT team in Severny, they're looking to make their own push, encroach onto Shelter up north. Maybe also looking to push out Zixi from underground, but I don't think they will check it out directly. Every team, our final 10 teams are still in the zone as of right now. Even the teams on the mountaintops really have access to a playable area. So we might not lose any squads here, except for a really strong nade. TGM able to go push up onto Metacore. That's going to be them down to just a solo, but the nades in these dips are so easy to hit. Absolute sending, pudding, running away, scurrying away, trying to survive. He does reposition nicely. That should be just enough time to go for the first aid, or maybe even the medkit if he does have one. As 777 will be our first team from our top 10 to fall. 9 remain.
Slowly but surely whittling them down. As no one's wanted to overcommit, but SSE might be thrown into the blender with or without their consent against Amex here, as they go down quickly too. And look at the stark contrast. An Amex roster that was outside of the top 12 within the space of one game have found 13 elims and rocketed themselves up those places. But can they do anything else? How far can they go? They lose one of their teammates on the drive-by to Avalanche team. A side that we know, again, has a ton of talent as well. And they keep them penned in. This is also a big game from Avalanche individually. 9 elims thus far. Afterlife realizing that if they want to grab on to a safety of being within that top 12, they've got to do it by the weaponry in their hands. They take the fight straight back to 27+. Good damage across the board. Kino finding the third-party adjustment back onto Kvik of Amix as well in the downtime between those two fights. So a lot breaking out. Oh, Aslan Boy denying himself there, it seems, with an 8.
Oh, I'm not sure what happened over there, but that also does mean the FAMAS has been dropped. We'll see who will be able to make it over to that death crate and get the extra juicy airdrop loot. But yeah, the self-nade of Aslan is definitely going to make it a little bit harder to get points on board. As now you want to play the game, as Generation of Miracle will be reaching the end of their game. Down to now top 4. It's going to be a full squad of Avalanche, Mad Esports, Windy still there for Afterlife, actually, also with a teammate of Zixi, as they do make a swift exit outside of the lower realm. Making it down this dirt pile, but you got to keep in mind that Mad has got some good nades ready to go. They're sending on one player, and he gets the 1v2 with Eorg as Absolute to defend his location. Actually, no, Butcher also helped.
Yeah, big Butcher, mate. He's always there in the background, chopping away. Hey, though, this is looking pretty spicy, Max, for the potential for maybe a bit of an upset steal on the chicken dinner here. We'll have to see. Avalanche certainly coming out at full power, though, so it's going to be hard to dethrone them from the position they're in. Bit of a broken setup as well from what remains of the other two teams. Absolute and Bio at times can be a bit of a powerful duo. Absolute feels like he's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but this is such a well-contained collection of players on Avalanche. Like, everyone's hitting the same level of power. I think they might just run through everyone. Molodoy wants the fight. He unleashes the magazine onto Bio. Good Bio at that point as he's finished off. And with nothing left to play with for Amix, it feels like Avalanche are destined for greatness once again today.
Most definitely here. We have an echo of Rondo happening yesterday on game 1. They got that 22 elimination chicken dinner. Here they got 15 elims. Could be pushing it up to 17. Though, keep in mind, for Amix, they still have 2 strong players. They have Kvik and Havlik. I don't believe he will have enough time to go for the reset on his teammate. So that's going to be him down as a solo, as Groza. He's going to be full sending it, and the solo drive-by is going to be enough. Groza to end this game and secure an Avalanche chicken dinner as he runs down the hill.
There you go. Avalanche once again snowing under the competition. Freezing cold stuff. As they did not look scared, they did not look panicked in any situation. Very confident to fight and getting themselves another big game. Taking the chicken dinner, but not only that, the 17 elim points that is attached to it, where it wasn't just one star player, Max, it was the entire team mirroring the power level.
Groza was kind of playing the role of Dungeon Master, telling all of his players where to go exactly as he was getting the insight from the mountaintop right next to Crash Site. So Groza was the absolute overseer of this game. I think he was very detrimental. Despite maybe having lower eliminations than some of his teammates, I think, he was still impactful in the overall macro aspect of this game. So good stuff from the entirety of Avalanche, able to make it so far as a full team. But even though the storyline is, of course, they just won the game, GG well played to Avalanche, we have to talk about Amix, right? Getting so many points on board here, making it with double-digit eliminations into second place. This is massive, and I'm going to say it, this is the game that secures them a spot in the grand finals. It's a bit too late, but they still will be able to make it. So, it was risky, but it worked out in the end.
No, exactly. You know what? At least they woke up, right? It doesn't matter how late it is. It doesn't matter what it took. The poor games, you can forget about that. As long as we get them into the finals and completely there, they change their fate, we could be singing their praises. It could be that more characteristic team of Amix that we see consistently. But they had to start somewhere, and this apparently was the game for it. So great to see. Massive elims on that one and far better confidence with the fights they were taking.
Oh yeah, and Groza still apparently got 5 eliminations. I wasn't sure if he was going to be elimination leader for his team, but he is indeed, but not on his own, right? Molodoy, 4 elims, Butcher, 4 elims, Tommy, also 4 eliminations. But every player here, I feel like, had some moment of glory throughout this tournament of PMGO EECA. Tommy maybe has been somewhat the outlier, sometimes going out a little bit early compared to some of his mates, but no, he's also stepping up massively, almost getting 600 damage dealt to his opposition and 4 eliminations total secured. So good overall elimination spread for the team. I do wonder if they're going to be our top fraggers of this game. I think there could be other members, such as maybe from TGM, maybe even from the likes of Amix, as we will be going to that graphic very, very soon. But yeah, overall, Avalanche, well done indeed. Such a good game. And they're so good, I'm hiding behind them. Molodoy's hiding me. He's keeping me safe. Oh, he's gone away. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that's how good they are. They're always looking for opportunities to find picks. They thought we'd be some free elim points, but never us, Max, never us. We're too hardy. We're too damn good. That's why they keep us tucked away here in the casting space. But hey, yeah, beautiful stuff to see there from the team, playing very confidently. This will be one of the more interesting final results in terms of standings that we've had today as well, where it's sort of been, one team maybe moving up. It's been nowhere near that crazy, but we'll have a look at that in a couple minutes time. For now, of course, there's plenty of opportunity to get yourself that crocodile backpack. That's down there just underneath Max, so scan that QR code, enter the digits and get yourself a little croc.
Yeah, there might not be any more remaining, but you know what? You better go and check it. They might still have a few left in the bag. Well, backpacks in the bag, so that's a little bit weird. But yeah, make sure to secure yourself with the crocodile backpack. We still have a few ready to go if you can get it on your account today. Looking at the match summary, though, it's going to be 58 eliminations secured, so 2 players apparently just getting eliminated by maybe driving a little bit too fast or also getting taken out by the blue zone. As only 1 airdrop was looted. But I was so happy in particular this game, Jackie. We did see the FAMAS in full swing this game. Really could see with the rates of fire. It did do some really good stuff for the, I think 27 Plus and TGM actually both had one, if I'm not mistaken, this game. So maybe we had 2 FAMASes in this game. So good to see some different weapons being used in an esports format.
Yeah, the FAMI there doing wonderful
that would be
work.
true.
Yeah. The collection of FAMASes, Max, as we learnt a couple days ago. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. That's what you always want to see. Big fan of the FAMAS, mate. It's a great weapon. It's lovely to see players popping off with it. Groza, though, being our MVP on that one. Not only a key part of the winning team, but looking beastly through and through in the battleground all in all. Tons of damage, great consistency with his aim as well, mate. Lovely to see. Living up to his name. Powerful weapon, powerful player.
Yeah, not shooting any hands this game. He knows they need their hands to play the game, so he's going to be very kind there.
That'd be rude, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be a little bit. But you know what would keep you safe? The Hot Juke's thumb sleeves. If you had those, that's going to be tier 5 armor on your hands, so you'll be taking no damage there whatsoever. As here we go, actually, hey, so it is going to be playoff Amix as I thought. It will be our lobby leader in terms of eliminations. Default taking home 7, almost 1,000 damage from this guy. Absolutely mental stuff. Followed by Groza and also Havlik that's up there with 5 eliminations. So we are seeing the rebirth, the phoenix of Amix is here, and they are finally stepping up. A little bit late once again, but it will be enough to reach those finals at the end of the line.
Do you know what's mental, mate? It caught me off guard for a second because I'd gotten so used to not seeing Havlik and Default's faces that when I finally saw them, I was like, oh my god, I don't remember seeing them in our elimination or MVP sort of graphics at any point throughout the tournament. But boy, did I miss seeing them, Max. They're a talented team. Not to be misconstrued, right? We want them to do well, and I'm glad they've shown up here because they are such a powerful force.
I actually know what went wrong with Amix. I believe Havlik was in Krakow. He was in my city just a few days ago. And I think the curse just rubbed onto him. He got too close to me. You don't want to do that. And it's wearing off. It's wearing off. That's why they're getting better results at the end. But no, really good stuff from the entirety of Amix. A good team-wide effort. Second page. Motion. No follow-up. It's KZ. No follow-up. Good result after the previous game. Same for also Destined to Rise. So that's the main issue. We see these good results, Jackie, and we're like, that's a really good start. We still need more, and then they just fall flat on their faces. This is going to be really tough. So I think we literally will be getting to the last game on Miramar, and that will be the true deciding factor as to who's going home and who will be headed into the grand finals.
Yeah, I think so, mate. It's literally going to come down to effectively one battleground with like the smallest margin for points being on the line. So there we go. This is how, of course, the overall rankings are looking for anyone at home that's tuning in, wondering how the competition's been going down today. If your favourite team will be making it into the top 12, well, if you're a fan of Afterlife, you'll be happy to see they're still there. If you are a big Amix supporter, they're safe now for one of the first times in a very long time. But unfortunately for Motion, of course, that means that big result, like you touched on, it was all for naught in the follow-up. So they have to go absolutely massive. We got to see a lot of Motion on both of the Miramars if they want to force either Destined to Rise or Afterlife, perhaps even 27 plus, out of that contention for the 12th spot.
I'm sure they're wishing that was a rondo coming up. If only we had 2 rondos like in the previous stages, that would have been so good. But no, unfortunately, you'd have to make it work out on Miramar. Miramar can be a very treacherous map. It can be really hard to get some good games on it. We saw it didn't work out for Amix yesterday. One slight fumble, and they missed out on a chicken dinner. So these teams need to go hard or go home in these last 2 games.
It's very true. But we'll find out which one of those 2 options our teams will be playing when we get back into our action following the break.
Start the war!
Hello everyone, welcome back to the EECA finals here for PUBG Mobile. Howdy, as Maxman would say, of course. Looking forward to seeing where the last two games will go. Max, potentially some cowboy level plays as we move into our Miramars.
Oh, yeehaw! Let's get right into it. I don't know when I've said howdy for. You'd have to.
Many
show
a
me.
time, many a time.
Okay, maybe I'm in a situation where someone takes over my body and starts talking during the games because I don't remember that. But here we go, looking at the recap. Oh, it's already gone. It's so quick. If you blinked, you missed it because we are getting right into the action. Hits Miramar back to back before we decide which will be our 12 teams to advance straight into the grand finals. Let's go, cowboy. It's time for some Miramar madness.
Yeah. Mirror, 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 Miramar. That's where we're going. That's what we're getting. A long time coming for this one. We've had a lot of Erengaus. We had our Rondo way back at the start of the day, but now we get the Wild West as we kick it off. Excited, mate, especially if the form of Amex in the previous game is to be carried on here to a map that historically I feel like they've got a good upwards draft of confidence on. Maybe we start to see some brilliant consistency.
I mean, I think Amex qualified, genuinely. They're what now, on the first page of the leaderboards off the back of that second place last game, so I think they are fine. Now, hopefully they can just keep getting good results just to give us a bit more hopium that they might do well in the finals, but outside of that, they should be fine because, just again, as a quick description here as to what you really want to pay attention to this game, you really want to focus on teams such as, all the teams in bottom four, which currently would be Metacore, SSE, KZ, Motion. Team on the cutoff is going to be right now Afterlife. They've got 51 points to their name. So right now 51 points would be the cutoff to make it to the finals or be sent home. And then Distant Arise and 27 Plus above them, both tied with 53 points. And actually, one thing I do want to highlight here that could be very important, Jackie, 27 Plus have one chicken dinner. Afterlife have one chicken dinner. KZ have one chicken dinner. Outside of that, on the second page, no other team have wins. And if you do get yourself in a tiebreaker, the chicken dinner does award you the win in that tiebreaker scenario. So those wins could actually be the difference between getting sent home early or continuing your run in the finals.
Yeah, that's why you've always got to be collecting your chickens, but not your eggs before they've hatched. Because if you count them before they've hatched, you don't know how many chicken dinners you'll actually have. And that's not just a farming fact, that's proof for how to play professional PUBG Mobile. Anyway, moving on to something that's more grounded in reality, mate. Metacore. This is going to be the start of the world's biggest two-game comeback, Max, just to let you know.
Ooh. Yeah. No.
Yeah, analyze that one, buddy.
They're going to need like 20 points plus per game. They've got 7 points
I mean, look,
so far.
You know, if you had 17 elims a game and got the chicken dinner twice.
This ain't Rondo, mate. What are you... What's this? No,
Yeah,
let's stop
look,
there.
it's entirely possible, Max.
I mean, yeah, okay, mathematically speaking, it's... But
There we go. Max agrees.
No,
a 2-game comeback for Metacore,
Don't
guys.
pull an
Max
Aurora.
said
Stop
himself.
it. Stop it. You're trying to get me cancelled every time. No, it's not true. I'm sure John would go here and talk about how things would have to pan out for them to qualify at the end here, with based on the average of Afterlife or whatever weird stuff he would say. But they could make it technically. But as you said, it would be one of the biggest 2-game comeback we've ever seen in not just this region, but the entire history of PUBG Mobile esports. It doesn't happen very often, and no one's going to try and
I'm
drop
only
on them to
taking
get a
the
free
mickey,
win.
No, I'm only taking the mickey, of course.
Yeah.
But I do like how you gave it a full breakdown. You gave it a good go. That's why you're a bloody good analyst, Max.
Okay.
Even when I'm throwing curves.
I don't know what to expect. You're mean and then you're nice back to.
Yeah.
I'm
love bombing you.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Exactly.
We'll see in Riyadh. For PMW, see what happens. Okay, we'll see if I'll be happy with you or not.
Oh, bloody hell. It's all right. All still mates.
I'll do my
Not for
trick.
motion, though, potentially, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm doing my
They
trick
could
when
have
I...
a real sap on.
Yeah, they could.
Go on.
No, I'm doing my trick when I twist a water bottle when I just open the cap and use it as like a little gun.
Yeah, I know.
do that.
You attacked me. You attacked me previously. You had a great catchphrase when you did it. You were like, max attack, and you shot it towards me.
That's exactly what
It's
I
crazy.
said, yeah.
That was, yeah.
It's
I
my
remember
ultimate.
The green room erupted.
Yeah.
It was good.
I pressed
good
R.
times. Yeah, honestly, you'd probably fit into like a hero shooter type situation.
I'm trying to think what would my
Or flesh out
abilities
your
be.
character.
Yeah.
That's what you probably, what's your one? What's your like active? What would you do?
My passive is slow metabolism. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't. Now we'll have to workshop what my abilities.
We'll
would
flesh
be.
it out.
Yeah, we'll work on
flesh
it a bit.
out.
Though for Motion, you were talking about them as I was rudely interrupting you there, trying to get my joke in. Yeah, Motion did lose one early. They're down to just a trio, of course, 45 points. They're just 6 points away from the cutoff. So losing this player is actually terrible. This is the worst start Motion could have had, and they have to play it super passive now, which is actually, when you're looking at the map, they are actually sending it far to the west cliffside of Miramar, which is going to keep them away from harm, and also they won't have to really be cautious of having teams wrap in behind them because they have that wall just naturally keeping them safe. So, yeah, unfortunate for Motion, but they are doing the right steps here, I would say, to make sure they can make up for that initial first player loss.
Yeah, if they can cause any commotion. It's just funny, isn't it? Because their name's Motion. So like commotion.
Oh.
Can they cause any
Oh, that took me
commotion?
way too long.
There we go.
Oh.
As if you didn't get the meme. Bloody hell.
Oh, my God.
It's all right, mate. It's been a long day. It's fine. Max has got his head screwed on.
Be careful, the max attack is... the time is almost over. I'm ready
It's
to press...
priming up. I know.
I'm going to
you're
press R
gripping
again.
that water bottle. Yeah, all right. Sorry. He's nearly off cooldown. I'll stop.
Yeah.
All right, then, yeah, let's scope in. Let's see what's happening. Pretend I'm a Mini 14. I've zoomed into the action. So Arc Red, they're starting to make their way down the road, up the M6 here as they're chasing towards Goat that are doing some sporty manoeuvres in the vehicles, just keeping a bit of a periphery tail on them, trailing them in close proximity as they make their rotation round towards the zone.
Got to be a bit careful with Goat, yeah. Don't want to get too close to them. Moxie's going to be far behind. I wonder, did Moxie find Hovercraft this game? We'll see very soon, as Ozrox, though, going to be in their first encounter of the game versus, again, his champions. They keep fighting bloody early. It happens time and time again. They just can't escape the wrath of Circle 1, it seems. Demo dropped and flushed. Same for Fearless. He's going to meet a very similar fate as Atomic. Left stranded here. Kino's around, but Atomic is just getting fully surrounded. He does have a decent nade, good damage actually onto Leon and also Malaz, but it's just not going to be enough. That's going to be an extra member, and yeah, Champions just falling apart against a team that has been actually improving significantly this tournament. There's been Ozorox, right? The loot truck, extra loot in Pachinki's been looking really helpful to their kind of game plan on Erangel. Here, they're off to a good start, and that's going to be a 4-0 advantage taken up. 16th place, 0 eliminations, 9th place for them. Actually, I didn't even talk about them in my storyline of teams we want to focus on here today. I was going to say, if Champions get a 0-pointer, they could realistically fall out of top 12. And when you have 27 plus, Destined to Rise, Afterlife still alive as a full team, Jackie, they are playing it way too close for comfort.
Well, they are playing with fire. Yeah, you're spot on, mate. They're certainly, you know, at this point, tragically, not safe. It could still be a result where teams could lap them, especially if this happens here. And then, as you mentioned, those squads just beneath you with realistically only sort of 3 or at most 5 points away from tying up where you are in the standings at 9th. You could slowly start shuffling your way down. Then you've got the pressure massively on your shoulders going into that very final game of the day following this. Say final game of the day, final game of the entire LCQ. So one more mistake and yeah, we go from Champions being in this race with Aurora in the upper echelons of the standings back in the knockout stage to maybe being in the bottom end of things and possibly not even making it to finals. That would be a tragic result for them.
For real. They've got so many of these 0, 1, 2-pointing games too, which is literally the worst case scenario. So hopefully they won't have it. Ooh, I thought Misha was going to get his car stuck there on that fence. Doesn't make it over. But yeah, so if you're a Champions fan right now, it's going to be looking a bit dicey. But you know what? If Champions don't make it, that would actually be really good for Aurora because they wouldn't have to take these really bad early fights where they keep crashing with Champions early on. Just kept happening, not sure why. So, looking at the POV of other teams, going to be SSE in 15th position. Not impossible to pull off a comeback, but they will need an absolute banger here on match 1 of Miramar. Don't know able to find anything significant on the teams crossing by their city of Monte Nuevo. So they'll have to remain on 0 limbs. As KZ and Destined to Rise on the elimination feed, that is going to be a very important fight here. As KZ do lose a player, they keep doing it. They did it early on Erangel too. They go close to teams and they just lose some players for no real good reason. But they will attempt to punish play onto bets. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, the big bets manifesto. Seeing just what they can do towards this Destined to Rise squad today, who have been looking a little bit better in terms of the form, but hey, all it will take is one unfortunate fight and their pathway to keep themselves safe could also be up for a topic of debate. As it stands right now, Betts is still alive. They've kept him in position. The squads around do begin to make a bit more of a move further away, so they've got a moment of respite to have a big deep breath. Don't have to panic too much, but mate, it's going to get chaotic in a very short space of time, realistically. Yeah, I think this Miramar's going to start lighting up. There's the peak back out, though. D2R, response in kind as KZ are target practice for this team.
Yeah, KZ, 0-pointer. They're going to pull a Champions, which is not a compliment. Yeah, some teams are getting. You can tell there's some mistakes happening for teams that are just really throwing everything in the kitchen sink in these matches to hopefully get a few points that would be enough to push them up in top 12. Like KZ here, they're going way too close to some teams, not even spending any time on scouting whatsoever, and that will cause just some really big issues down the line. Down to Jaikura and Moxie. Do have 2 Moxies here, one with a hovercraft, one without. So over to this mountain. We did see this actually be used yesterday as a finishing location, right? This mountain next to Monte Nuevo is really strong. Motion were not able to defend it successfully yesterday. This time it's going to be held down by Metacore and also Blue from Ozorox. And also Leon in the distance. I would say, though, it would be good if they don't fully commit to the fight, but it seems like 2 of the players in Cyrex on Blue are a little bit too close, meaning they are going to be clashing, and Blue does hit the util right on the head of Cyrex. And even Metacore, BCG Pro, will get knocked himself, so things are looking a bit dicey, a bit risky for Metacore, as they are playing with fire here. It's Tiger Grill's going to go for the push, hopefully trying to save Soldier Ryan, but even then it's just not going to be looking great. Everything is falling apart, and actually this fight is taking so long, this could be opening up an opportunity for a third party from the likes of 777, even maybe 27 plus, as the high ground has been given up for free over to good old Tapok in the back. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. Sorted, dealt with. Signed, sealed, and delivered then. Once again, they are out of the runnings very quickly into one of our matches here throughout the LCQ. And that consistent trend of not much goes the way of Metacore once more today.
Good shots here, connecting Afterlife, a team that can't afford to take casualties. That's going to be one player flushed, one knocked, and actually flushed two. Zixi flushed on out by 6 with the S12K. Yeah, looking at the elimination spread, Ozrox, they went kind of postal this game, Jackie. They already got 7 elims. Sure, they've only got a solo, but yeah, you know what? That's going to keep them nice and comfortably away from the point threshold of top 12. So they should be good to go. The Serbian team will have some representation in the finals. As SSC, a team that is very desperate for these elims, are looking for it, but not easy to connect, as they are getting also shot by teams in the play zone, such as KZ, Destined to Rise, even the likes of TGM. So no angle is safe on this circle. It's a very tricky area to have a finishing zone on Miramar. Though, Arcred on the move with the cars. Goat team looking their way. Not sure where they're going, though. That could be a little bit of a risky push, but it's working out as they're sending it straight onto one player. It's going to be Moxie.
Moxie, you'd say normally in situations like this he can thrive, but he will not be able to survive under the sheer pressure of the Arc Red crew that crashed down onto him and are able to clean that one up very quickly. So only 3 players remain for the GOAT team here, as the infighting between our bigger squads in the standings continues.
You just get these fights breaking out, and then it's just absolute calm, and then it just breaks out again. Teams need a little break.
Very weird tempo.
Yeah. It's not consistent fight, though. 777 and 27 will clash. Going to be butting heads here in this area. 27 plus had a really good opportunity last year to do well. Actually, also had some really good kind of loot to work with. Windy, though, that took a lot of shots with the mini for focus to confirm it, but that is going to be Afterlife. A loss they generally just could not afford, in particular when Motion are still alive, KZ are still alive, SSC are still alive. Afterlife, a team that we were hoping, Jackie, right, to make it to the finals. They had so much potential, an underdog team rising through the Eastern European region, but might have met their match here today and might also go out fully of the tournament if they can't redeem it in the last game.
I mean, if Motion are able to play another blinder, right, and still somehow work their way in with this trio to a big point finish, yeah, it's looking really scary, because then all it takes is one unfortunately early game finish into the last Miramar of the day, and Afterlife well and truly have that chance to show us what they're made of in the finals, blow up in their face. It'd be a shame to not have them there, but it does not feel guaranteed at this point by any means, especially with Motion looking pretty good, man. Yeah, it's still a fair few points they'd need, but it's achievable, to be honest. We'll keep with it, see if that's the way it goes. Avalanche having a bit of infighting, splitting their attention between 2 teams. TGM coming out worse for wear, it seems, off the back of the battle. Molodoy still alive and standing. But when he's alive, you better prepare yourself for a barrage of bullets. Tries to turn his attention round as he's suspicious about where the other squads can be. He does force TGM back with only a solo making a move. Butcher, in the meantime, expires, though, so they go down to 3 players now.
If you're Avalanche, you need to pick whatever option you want to go for, and you've got to fully commit to it. Because right now, they had TGM to the east, they had over to the west, Amix looking over the valley on that road, and Avalanche are just kind of really pincered. So, or you commit to the fight and take up the position of TGM, or you go into hiding in the center in that compound, and which is exactly what they're going to be going for, apparently. So they went for the more passive approach, which I do prefer in this scenario. So I think Avalanche are playing it beautifully so far. Again, Podium team could be looking to maybe even overtake Arcred with a banging performance. Who knows how things are going to go down, though. Amix also looking to mow down everyone. Able to get himself a nice fight. Actually fully crashing onto Mad Esports, but Bio's got a good defense with the pump. And even the flush with the Org maybe coming through very soon. Everyone's falling, and it's just down really to one member. Bio, the man of the hour for Mad Esports, keeping the dream alive and able to eliminate all of Amix in one clean swoop.
Surprising, really, considering how much better Amix looked into that previous game. I was thinking they were going to keep that going. Doesn't really matter too much, though, at least with how monumental that match was. It's not like they only pushed themselves barely back into safety. They more than guaranteed themselves a good position in the standings, which is nice to witness there with the 65 points they've got. So add 2 onto that. Even with them going down early, it won't result in that much of a scary prospect. A lot of solos this time around as well, with 3 teams down to just 1 representative. So opportunities to quickly move your way up closer towards being within the placement zone to get better points out of this one could become a reality in a short space of time for some of our teams. That's why Destined to Rise 27 plus maybe are thinking about that sort of prospect. Even Motion, it's just harder there with the limited players they've got. D2R here do kick off their fight versus KZ. 1 by 1, able to cleave through them and chop them out of Miramar. They're now down and out. SSE from the sideline watching it and even fancy firing a few shots over. That's Corp with a Mini 14.
And that was a really good engage, by the way, from Destined to Rise. The way they used that utility to, in particular, the Molotov was able to just zone out a big portion of the building, forcing all the other players to just kind of move and run about, hoping to survive the encounter. But it was easily cleaned up by Destined to Rise. GG, well played in that exact position. And they especially keep all the team alive, which is going to be looking really good for their next fight, which might be against SSC if they push their way, or even against the likes of Motion, which our center circle is going to be based on where phase number 6 goes. We'll be pulling towards. But Corp, I would see as POV, might be a good time to actually pop the wheels of the cars, just kind of hinder the future rotation potential. I like to do it in my own games. I would like to see it more in esports, especially in a really rough terrain like this. Losing a wheel can really make these cars lose control very quickly. That's Westron, good angle with the M4. Not able to really hit any knock off the back of that, but just demanding respect that they should not peek that window without having any play to back it up.
Yeah, you can't do anything by half measures, especially in this lobby right now, so make sure you got the full scope of the situation before you potentially leave yourself exposed if you're going to commit to a fight. And D2R know that with how important it is. They still continue to build themselves a bit of a bigger safety net here. 777 up towards the tail end. Could have a bit of a backstab onto this. They've got that cliff to play around. Meanwhile, you see that infighting again kick off. Had still players within the very top spots, the upper echelons with Arc and Avalanche, taking the fight to one another.
It's a good headshot to Corp. Still in circle. Everyone's just waiting for phase 6 at this moment. It's 10 seconds away. Kind of dictate how this story is going to unfold. Now, Gro's also taking a bit of a beating up against Arcred. Things are looking pretty dicey to the west, and it seems like Avalanche want to fully commit and clean up shop there, and that's going to be exactly what they do. With a bit of help from teams like Motion, Duchu, with actual, whoa, that's an insanely good long-range shot with the M249. Duchu doing some work with the LMG. Though now teams are going to put a little bit more of a focus on their compound. It's one of the strongest positions in this circle. Will the Polish team be able to defend it successfully? That is going to be the main focal point of this match, as Alicia also popping off with a Mini 14. TGM eliminated fully, down to now single-digit amount of teams, 9 remaining in this game. Scurrying about, hoping to get himself a massive game, especially for SSC, Motion, 27 plus or D2R, just to make sure they are safe when it comes to making their way into the finals. Along the line, it's going to get real dicey. Teams can't afford to not get any placement points in this game. They need to survive even deeper in this match.
Yeah, it could be a real bounty if you can play your cards right. That's the most important piece. It goes down to the individuals. SSC, though, on their clash uphill battle against 777. Alicio low on health and Silence getting knocked. It makes it far harder for this squad to potentially have an opportunity to seize the day on it, even with DTR taking back shots up towards the hillside and connecting onto the rear there. Good damage done.